This story starts without MC, Nakatani Yuto pants for breath, his eyes wide with terror and exhaustion. Having just slain a monster, a voice warns him not to lower his guard. He sees a new horde of monsters emerging, realizing they are still coming. His face reflects pure shock at the unreasonable and relentless nature of the attack. An overhead view reveals the massive, chaotic battle raging throughout the cavernous dungeon. The hero Miyamoto confidently challenges the monsters, ready to charge into the fray. He unleashes a powerful swing, effortlessly cutting down a group of attacking beasts. Watching from the rear, his classmates marvel at how many he killed, calling him amazing. From Nakatani's perspective, the warrior Onizuka leaps high into the air to attack. With a mighty yell, he smashes the ground, causing a massive earth-shattering explosion. An observer remarks on Onizuka's ridiculous power, as expected of his ogre god skill. In another part of the cavern, a support mage calls out to rally her allies. The support group casts their spells, creating an aura of protective and beneficial light. In contrast, Nakatani struggles in close combat with a hissing, horned demon creature. He grits his teeth, urging himself on as he parries the monster's attack. Panting, he manages to stab another monster that lunges at him from the side. He managed to kill him. His hand trembles with a mixture of fear and physical exhaustion from the fight. Looking at the endless horde and his powerful classmates, he curses his own weakness. He feels small and inadequate, believing everyone else possesses amazing and powerful skills. Onizuka suggests they fight the boss, but Miyamoto insists on following proper order. Onizuka turns and impatiently yells at the weaker students to keep up with them. He berates them for being too slow, demanding that they walk much faster. Overhearing their arrogance, Nakatani lets out a frustrated sigh. A female classmate, Minas, nervously approaches and suggests that they take a break. She explains that everyone has been fighting continuously since their arrival in the dungeon. Minas suggests a rest will help in future battles, asking if that's okay. Delighted by her suggestion, Miyamoto loudly announces a break for everyone, surprising them. During the break, Nakatani takes a long, needed drink from his water skin. He sits down to rest while the rest of the exhausted group rests nearby. He looks down at his canteen, lost in thought about their current situation. He wonders how long it has been since they arrived in this new world. He reflects on the fact that they were all summoned to this strange world. The reality of their summoning to another world weighs heavily on his mind. He recalls his ordinary life, reflecting that he was a normal high school student. He remembers seeing his popular classmate Miyamoto talking with a girl in class. The school bell rings loudly, signaling the end of the school day for everyone. A student grabs their school bag, ready to head home for the day. Nakatani excitedly thinks about hurrying home to play his brand new video game. As he turns to leave, he is suddenly struck by a strange, unsettling feeling. He looks down in confusion at the strange, glowing runes appearing on the floor. On that day, the entire classroom was suddenly engulfed in blinding pillars of light. Caught in the brilliant flash, he can only ask what is happening to them. His eye widens in pure shock and disbelief at the surreal event unfolding. The light fades, revealing they have been summoned to a strange new world. A voice from below exclaims with joy that the summoning ritual was a success. A desperate-looking king welcomes the bewildered students, addressing them all as heroes. The students react with confusion and fear, asking what is happening to them. They demand answers from the old man, asking where they are and to go home. As the king tries to calm them, Onizuka complains that his phone is dead. Amidst the chaos, Miyamoto steps forward, telling his panicked classmates to calm down. He turns to the king, politely requesting an explanation for their summoning. From the crowd, Nakatani watches with admiration for the class president's composure. He reflects on Miyamoto's natural leadership, noting his charismatic ability to calm everyone. Once the students have settled, their hosts begin to explain the new world. They learn they were summoned to a land of diverse races to save the empire from danger. Suddenly, Nakatani feels a jolt as a strange power manifests before him. A status screen appears, displaying his name and his special skill, absorption. While everyone has received a special power, Nakatani wonders if his is some kind of bug. A nearby classmate questions what the absorption skill is even supposed to do. As a demonstration of power, a guard holds up a stone block, which is instantly obliterated. Miyamoto stands confidently, having shattered the massive stone with a single punch. The court erupts in praise, with a noblewoman commending the Hirosama for his great deed. His classmate Akane fawns over him, but he humbly tells her not to make fun of him. A status screen confirms his incredible ability is called heroic strength. It becomes clear that everyone in the class possesses powerful and varied abilities. Their incredible skills are the reason they have been given the title of heroes. In stark contrast, Nakatani tests his own skill on a tiny, insignificant pebble. He slumps in dejection, lamenting that his power can only draw things a little closer. Feeling small and weak, he sees his classmates as towering, intimidating figures. In his mind, he hears their mocking voices calling him incompetent and predicting his quick death. He desperately wishes they would stop looking at him with those pitying eyes. Clenching his fist, he resolves that he must fight, even with this meager power. Back in the present, Nakatani sits in the dungeon, reaffirming his determination to act. The local guide furiously confronts Onizuka, scolding him for recklessly attracting monsters. Onizuka looks away dismissively, claiming they just needed to be focused. He shouts back at the guide, turning the situation around and blaming him instead. The argument escalates violently as Onizuka grabs the guide, threatening to kill him. From the back of the group, a hero urges his weary companions to get up now. Another hero shouts a warning that monsters are coming and they must prepare for battle. Nakatani's eyes widen in absolute terror as he comprehends the immediate danger. A massive, horrifying horde of horned goblins swarms out from the darkness. The terrifying wave of monsters charges directly towards the cornered students. Miyamoto calmly draws his sword, his expression focused and ready for the fight. His cape billowing, he leads the charge, cutting down the first wave of enemies. He shouts encouragement to his classmates, telling them there is nothing to fear. He rallies the terrified students, yelling for them to follow his lead into the fray. Standing over a slain monster, Miyamoto curses his difficult situation. In another part of the battle, Onizuka brutally smashes a creature with his fist. Nakatani feels his own inadequacy, knowing he is not like the other powerful heroes. Watching the intense battle from the rear, he knows he must still contribute. He clenches his gauntleted fist, making the final decision to try his best. A creature leaps onto his back from above, catching him completely by surprise. He grunts with effort as he struggles to block an attack from another monster. His eyes widen in fear as a sharp blade is pressed against his throat. With a desperate shout, he manages to shove one of the monsters away. His own dagger, now cracked and broken, falls from his trembling hand. Disarmed and vulnerable, he stares in shock, questioning what is happening. He looks down in despair at the shattered remains of his only weapon. The goblin he thought was dead begins to reanimate with a horrifying, twisted grin. A monstrous goblin with a single glowing eye lunges forward, its maw wide. The creature grabs Nakatani's head, who lets out a piercing scream of terror. His mind flashes back to cowering before a swarm of monstrous black beetles. In a chaotic memory, a female adventurer is struck by a volley of spikes. Nakatani utters a sound of shock, having witnessed the attack from the side. He recalls laughing hysterically and brokenly amidst the carnage of fallen creatures. Another memory shows him trembling, his body radiating an aura of intense fear. Alone at a dark cave entrance, he whispers that he is unable to go on. He declares his own powerlessness, his face a mask of panicked despair. In the present, a large demonic beast with a glowing sigil appears before him. Nakatani's face contorts in horror as he tries to shout a name. He sees his classmate Minas kneeling over a fallen comrade, attempting to heal them. The monster's menacing form is reflected in Minas's terrified, tear-filled eye. Nakatani screams a warning, his expression one of absolute wide-eyed fright. He recalls that in a spur-of-the-moment decision, he chose to intervene. Reaching out, he unleashes a swirling vortex of dark, shadowy energy from his hand. Minas looks on in shock as he internally admits his power cannot attack. He explains to himself that his only goal is to divert the monster's path. For a fleeting instant, he feels a sense of accomplishment, believing he did his best. The shadowy monster looms as he inwardly celebrates his momentary success. Minas cries out his name in horror as the situation turns against him. A heavy impact sound signifies the monster striking its new target. The redirected beast slams into Nakatani, who is powerless to defend himself. Nakatani's face is frozen in shock, a single sound of surprise escaping him. A bright, violent flash of white on black depicts the brutal impact. In the darkness of his mind, Nakatani questions what he was even doing. A close-up of his eye reveals his fading consciousness. He laments that he should have just lived by pretending not to see. Lying paralyzed, he realizes with a groan that he cannot move his body. His face bruised and bloodied, he silently begs for his friends to wait. Minas protests, but another voice coldly suggests abandoning him. Kneeling by his side, she confirms with despair that he has an unhealable curse. His classmates speculate that the monster was the source of the terrible affliction. A man with a scar suggests he may have been cursed from the start. A disembodied voice tells Minas that they must leave Nakatani behind. Miyamoto confirms this decision, stating they cannot stay there forever. Nakatani's eye widens in disbelief as he understands he is being abandoned. The others agree, calling him weak, useless, and expecting him to die first. Minace makes a final, desperate plea, reminding them that Nakatani is their friend. Onizuka scoffs, refusing to associate with weaklings and blaming Nakatani for his fate. The group looms over him, calling him incompetent for dragging Minace down. Looking up at his tormentors, Nakatani questions what they are saying, calling them creeps. Minace kneels over him, apologizing and asking if she truly did all she could. Her face is a mask of grief as she tearfully apologizes to him again. Her healing magic fades as she questions why this happened after he saved her. She cries, lamenting her inability to heal him properly. Miyamoto comforts her, saying she worked hard and must survive for Nakatani. He looks down at her with a seemingly sympathetic expression, telling her she did enough. Another female classmate leads the sobbing Minace away from Nakatani's abandoned body. Lying alone on the cold ground, Nakatani whispers his desperate desire not to die. After his comrades leave, Miyamoto leans over Nakatani, coldly stating he was always unnecessary. He continues, explaining that Nakatani is only hurting their valuable healer, Minace. Miyamoto's eye reveals pure hatred as he declares his disdain for useless trash. With a final cruel wish, he tells the paralyzed Nakatani to suffer and die. Miyamoto then feigns kindness, telling a knight he was just saying his last goodbyes. Left alone, Nakatani internally screams for them to wait, watching them abandon him. His classmates only see Miyamoto's kindness, praising their leader's compassionate nature. Nakatani's mind races with pain and fear, his body now completely unresponsive. A female classmate, Minace, looks back with a pained and sorrowful expression. Nakatani watches in abject horror as his comrades turn their backs on him. A close-up reveals the cold, determined face of another female classmate leaving. The older knight with the scar looks on with a stern, unforgiving gaze. Approaching Miyamoto from behind, Onizuka announces that he has a good idea. He gestures toward Nakatani, ignoring another classmate's warning about a nearby curse. Onizuka mockingly points out that even a weakling like Nakatani is a hero. He leans in with a sadistic grin, suggesting they should just kill him. Onizuka frames the murder as a simple way of gaining experience points. From the ground, Nakatani pleads for Onizuka to stop and stay away. He desperately tries commanding his body to move, knowing he is about to be killed. Overwhelmed by fear, Nakatani's mind screams its hatred for the freezing cold. Onizuka grabs him by his tattered shirt, a cruel smile on his face. In his final moments, Nakatani's only thought is that he doesn't want to die. A mysterious voice echoes in his mind, urging him to use his powers. A shrouded figure appears, and Nakatani questions the existence of his own power. He laments his incompetence while the voice insists he uses power to live. A manic spark ignites in Nakatani as he considers actually trying to fight back. He realizes that even with his weak power, he could knock Onizuka over. A crazed thought emerges. He will be laughing about this in the afterlife. Onizuka sees the change in Nakatani's eye, questioning what his victim has become. A massive shockwave erupts, throwing the distant girls into confusion and alarm. Onizuka and Minace wonder about the source of the sudden, powerful blast. Onizuka screams in pure rage, cursing the one who caused the explosion. He clutches his injured arm as his classmates shout his name in concern. Onizuka grunts in pain, warning someone or something not to come any closer. He defiantly yells that he won't die, demanding to know what has been done. Nakatani stands up, his paralysis gone, and looks at his hands in disbelief. Realizing he can move, he vows with murderous intent to kill his enemies. Onizuka recalls Miyamoto's earlier words about Nakatani's life being worthless. He charges forward, screaming for Nakatani to become his experience points. Nakatani calmly closes his eyes, bracing for the powerful incoming attack. His eyes snap open, now filled with a cold, focused determination. He effortlessly catches Onizuka's punch, much to his attacker's shock and confusion. Miyamoto and the older knight watch in stunned disbelief from a distance. A close-up shows Nakatani's hand firmly stopping Onizuka's Ogre God punch. Nakatani's arm now has a monstrous shell, and he questions how he used absorption. Onizuka, thrown back by the force, recognizes this as Nakatani's own original power. Onizuka, now revealed as a monster, realizes with horror that Nakatani stole his skill. Staring at his tattered clothes, Nakatani questions if he truly absorbed the power. Enraged, Onizuka accuses Nakatani of hiding his strength just to mock him. Screaming with fury, Onizuka vows he will absolutely kill his deceptive former classmate. Enraged and desperate, Onizuka swings his weapon down at the defiant Nakatani. Nakatani thinks he'd rather see his tormentors killed by anything than die himself. Planting his bare foot firmly, he cracks the stone floor with newfound power. With furious screams, Nakatani's fist connects solidly with Onizuka's face. Onizuka yells for him to shut up as the powerful impact sends out a shockwave. His body is completely obliterated, his final threat echoing amidst the violent explosion. The remaining heroes, Miyamoto and the commander, stare in absolute shock and disbelief. At the end of the long hall, Onizuka's bloody remains are splattered against the wall. Nakatani now stands alone, a significant distance from his former, stunned comrades. The commander of the Knights breaks the silence with a burst of incredulous laughter. He calls out to Nakatani, his expression one of excited amazement. Clapping a hand on his shoulder, the commander praises Nakatani's incredible hidden strength. He declares that such overwhelming power is the true talent of a hero. His mood then shifts and he sternly beckons Nakatani to come over. With a grimace, Nakatani offers a cold acknowledgement of the commander's praise. The commander now finds Nakatani's actions creepy, despite having been saved by them. Another knight in the background whispers his suspicion that Nakatani is cursed. The commander agrees with Miyamoto's unspoken sentiment that they should leave him. Turning his back on them all, Nakatani walks away into the darkness. Miyamoto angrily shouts that he won't allow Nakatani to act so freely. He yells after the departing figure, demanding that he listen to him. From within the group of heroes, Minix watches with a worried expression. She softly calls out his name, her voice filled with concern. Without looking back, Nakatani continues his solitary walk down the dark passage. The entire party watches as he is swallowed by the cavern's ominous darkness. Frustrated, Miyamoto orders Minas to take care of Onizuka's remains. Minase, looking downcast and sad, quietly agrees to the grim task. The commander of the Knights stands beside Miyamoto, observing the scene. He warns that it is dangerous to leave Nakatani to wander off alone. Miyamoto acknowledges that Nakatani's new power could make him a dangerous enemy. His expression hardens with grim resolve as he vows to be ready for their next encounter. He silently affirms that when the time comes, he will not hesitate to act. Alone in the dungeon, Nakatani feels the biting cold on his bare feet. He wonders how long he has been walking down the narrow, icy passage. Fortunately, his journey has been quiet, with no monsters appearing since the last battle. He reflects with quiet confidence that he has already taken care of them. He suddenly stops his advance, his expression turning to one of surprise. His eye widens in utter shock at the unexpected sight before him. He has discovered a vast, dark chamber littered with the pale corpses of giants. A shadowy, wolf-like beast lunges, grabbing him and urging him to move quickly. The creature's disembodied voice identifies him as an outsider from another world. He is dragged toward a massive, ornate door, questioning what this place could be. A status screen confirms he has absorbed the Ogre God skill. The mysterious voice from the shadows calls him outsider once more. A nearby brazier casts a flickering light on the ancient, cold stone walls. The voice reveals that the colossal door before him is already open. With a nervous gulp, Nakatani hesitantly reaches out toward the door. The voice commands him to open it as his gloved hand makes contact. Far away, Miyamoto and his companions look on with grim, conflicted expressions. Minas's face is a portrait of quiet sorrow and deep concern for the future. The hero Miyamoto stands with a grim and serious expression, looking away pensively. Beside him, the older commander of the Knights appears stressed and exhausted from their ordeal. Akan, the witch, stretches and complains about the foul air outside the dungeon. Another knight callously asks if Nakatani is dead, wondering what this place is. The commander confirms their fears, suggesting this is the country's most dangerous location. The other heroes press him for more details, demanding an explanation for the danger. With a grave look, he reveals the deep part is a special grade prohibited area. Akan is questioned about how she could possibly possess such specific information. She dismisses the query with a sly smile, her observation skill providing her insight. Akan approaches the worried Minas, telling her not to worry about Nakatani anymore. She insists Minas did her best, but the words offer no comfort. Miyamoto's frustration boils over as he rants about the selfish guy who left. Another female hero vehemently agrees with Miyamoto's angry assessment. The leader clutches his head, tormented by his failure to control the situation. Akan provokes him further, coolly stating that anyone can do what they want. Miyamoto snaps, turning on her and demanding to know what she means. He is met with her cold, unblinking stare, which silences his outburst. Defeated, Miyamoto turns his back on the group, facing the desolate mountains. The other heroes whimper in fear, unnerved by the palpable tension. Overcome with rage, Miyamoto lets out a guttural cry of frustration. He smashes his fist into the rocky ground, shattering it on impact. He curses his own powerlessness in the face of the recent events. Onizuka's replacement questions why he felt so powerless during the previous encounter. He glares into the distance, vowing to kill Nakatani the next time they meet. A grim, unsettling smile crosses Miyamoto's face as he processes his thoughts. The other heroes murmur that Miyamoto has gone nuts after Nakatani's victory. Minae sadly speculates that Nakatani might now be stronger than Miyamoto. She looks back toward the dungeon, her thoughts filled with concern for Nakatani. Akane, however, finds the situation amusing, wondering if Nakatani is still alive. With a playful smile, she continues her thought, finding the idea interesting. She notes that the place looked just like a Demon King's dungeon. Deep inside the cave, Nakatani pushes open a pair of massive, ancient doors. His clothes tattered and torn, he steps through the doorway into the unknown. He finds himself in a vast ruined hall, wondering where he is. The air is cold and stinks of decay as he walks forward. A profound sense of fear sends a shiver down his spine. Despite his terror, he tells himself there is no need to be afraid. A mysterious female voice echoes from the darkness, beckoning him to come closer. His face is a mask of determination as he moves forward. He is driven by the memory of Manasa's worried face calling his name. He resolves to continue, knowing he has nowhere else to go. His bare feet step onto the long, crumbling stone staircase leading down. He can only keep moving forward as he has no place to return to. He wipes a tear from his eye, thanking the voice for its guidance. At the end of the hall, a figure on a throne greets him. The woman smiles faintly, saying they have finally met at last. She looks at him from afar, calling him her one true hope. Nakatani is utterly stunned into silence by her declaration and appearance. He becomes flustered by her nudity, insisting he saw nothing. Peeking through his fingers, he thinks what a disastrous first impression he's made. Pointing at the mysterious woman, Nakatani Yuto states he knows she isn't from his world. She looks at him with pity, expressing sorrow for the betrayal he suffered from his colleagues. With a gentle expression, she thanks him for having saved her life. As he walks down the ruined hall, Nakatani insists he did very little to help her. He clutches his head, recalling his near-death experience, but she reassures him of his survival. From her throne, Melia addresses him formally, calling him outsider. She extends an invitation, asking him to join her cause. Nakatani hesitates, a bead of sweat on his face, unsure of her intentions. Looking downcast, he asks her to clarify what she means by join. Her eyes burn with a fierce light as she reveals her true goal: revenge against the Empire. She requests his help, leaving Nakatani stunned by her declaration against the Empire. A vision of the Holy Empire Valencia appears as she identifies it as the power that summoned him. He voices his apprehension, believing the destruction of an empire is too dangerous. Turning to him, she again calls him outsider to get his full attention. Memories of his betrayal flash through Nakatani's mind as she asks about his own grudge. His expression hardens as he silently acknowledges the deep resentment he feels. His gloved hand clenches into a tight, determined fist at his side. He admits to Melia that it would be a lie to deny his feelings of animosity. Seeing his resolve, she steps forward, suggesting their alliance is now inevitable. With a firm look, she declares that they are now officially comrades. Seated upon her throne, she finally introduces herself as Melia. A flustered Nakatani nervously offers his own name in return. Melia tells him she will remember his lovely name, Yuto. He looks on, still uncertain how to respond to her kind words. His mind races, questioning the girl, the throne, and her talk of revenge and grudges. With a worried look, he asks Melia to explain what is happening. Her revelation that she is a demon sends a jolt of shock through him. Stumbling backward, he demands to know what she means by being a demon. She clarifies her lineage, stating she is the daughter of the land's former demon king. Melia begins her tale, explaining this ruined place was once the demon's royal capital. A panoramic view shows the once beautiful capital, Lunaria, a paradise for her people. A memory shows the demon's citizens cheerfully helping one another in the city streets. Her father, the Demon King, is seen looking over the peaceful capital he built. She recalls her father's guiding philosophy, that everything was for the demon's well-being. The memory shows her as a happy child with her father, proud of their beautiful home. Her story takes a dark turn as she begins to describe their paradise's destruction. In a close-up, her eye reflects the horror of it all being destroyed in a single night. A dynamic flash shows the moment the Demon King was struck down in a violent attack. The king stands on a balcony as his retainers scream warnings of the danger. They plead with him to step back while others try to flee the chaos. The king's body is shown falling, struck by a powerful, unseen blow. An armored soldier of the Empire is seen cutting down demons during the attack. The Imperial soldier smiles cruelly amidst the burning ruins of the demon capital. A massive explosion engulfs the castle as someone screams the king's name in despair. Melia narrates that their paradise was utterly violated by the invading forces. The Empire's flag is planted among the corpses of the defeated demons. Yuto's expression is one of pure horror as he processes the scale of the massacre. Melia continues her grim tale, explaining how their paradise was desecrated. She reveals that the Empire's cruelty continued, enslaving the survivors to a gruesome end. When their barbarism became known, the Empire simply twisted the truth to hide their crimes. Melia explains how the Empire twisted the truth, becoming heroes by vilifying demons. Bound to her throne, she clarifies that demons are a peaceful, nonviolent race. Continuing her story, she reveals their friendliness towards humans was cruelly taken advantage of. Her own power is sealed, leaving her trapped and helpless within the ruins. With a bitter laugh, she finds the irony of her helpless situation almost comical. Looking over the ruins, she declares her ultimate goal, to rebuild Lunaria here. Her wish is to gather her endangered people so they can finally know peace. She acknowledges that to Yuto, her story must seem like unbelievable demonic nonsense. She finishes her thought, assuming he cannot possibly believe such a fantastical tale. Before she can continue, Yuto interrupts her, stating firmly that he believes her. He explains his reasoning, stating simply that it is because she helped him. This makes her far more trustworthy than the Empire that tried to kill him. With passion, he declares his desire to believe the words of his lifesaver. Extending his hand towards her, he makes a solemn promise to help her. With a determined smile, he asks her to be his path forward. His words visibly move her, her expression softening with surprise and gratitude. He awkwardly suggests a handshake, a human custom that seems to confuse her. Now allies, Yuto wonders aloud what he must do first to help her. Melia outlines their initial plan, stating they must first decide their strategy. To confront the Empire, they need allies, but Yuto bluntly admits he has none. She then realizes that after years, she has no friends either. Their first objective becomes clear. They must release the curse sealing her power. She explains this special curse can only be removed with a powerful dispelling skill. To regain her power, she asks Yuto to be the one to acquire it. Looking concerned, Yuto asks how he is supposed to acquire such a skill. Melia reveals the method with a single word that startles him: absorption. She points out that Yuto is not yet strong enough to handle it. A fallen monster illustrates her point about his current lack of sufficient power. Therefore, the first step is for him to become significantly stronger. With a determined gaze, she declares her desire for Yuto to become stronger. Yuto repeats her words, confused about how he is meant to do that. A sudden jolt of energy courses through the room, startling Yuto completely. He turns in alarm as new monsters begin spawning throughout the Great Hall. She explains that monsters periodically respawn inside dungeons such as this one. With a faint smile, she calls the monster's appearance perfect timing. She reminds him of his absorption skill, which literally takes power from others. To begin his training, she wants him to absorb her own power first. He is shocked by her request, worried about what might happen to her. She smiles reassuringly, telling him not to worry about the consequences for her. The absorbed person, she clarifies, will only lose their power for a time. This information sends a jolt of shocking realization through Yuto. He looks at his hand, suddenly realizing what this means for Onizuka's skill. She confirms the absorbed power remains permanently, which is why it's so powerful. She adds that skills have compatibilities, so he must be polished to use them. With just this one skill, she explains, he will never have to worry. The true terrifying potential of his absorption skill finally dawns upon him. At that moment, the horde of waiting monsters finally lets out a roar. Yuto shouts out in alarm as the monsters begin their ferocious attack. He warns her of the approaching monsters, but she calmly asks for his hand. She then gives him a final, direct instruction to place his hand on her breast. With a look of shock, Yuto learns he must absorb power to survive. Melia urgently instructs him to touch her breast, warning that monsters are approaching. Blushing and hesitant, Yuto mutters in embarrassment before stealing his resolve. He places his gloved hand on her chest as she calmly begins the process. His hand rests over the intricate curse mark just above her abdomen. With a look of grim determination, Yuto gives a firm sound of agreement. He grits his teeth and yells, committing himself fully to the power transfer. A violent torrent of black, spiky energy erupts from him with immense force. The chaotic power explodes outward, filling the chamber with a dark vortex. Overwhelmed by the influx, Yuto mentally cries out, questioning what is happening. He feels an incredible flow of information pouring directly into his mind. A vision floods his senses, a memory of soldiers marching under a strange banner. He sees a captured, bearded man and figures in eerie, smiling masks. Another fragmented memory shows Melia being captured and brutally assaulted by her enemies. In the vision, grinning, masked figures loom over her helpless form on the ground. As the visions fade, Yuto realizes he has just witnessed Melia's traumatic past. Staring in awe, he hears Melia's voice thanking him for his help. As she explains her temporary power loss, her magical restraints begin to shatter. The dark chains break apart, falling away as she declares her freedom from them. Now free, Milia stands naked, congratulating a stunned Yuto on the absorption. She turns to him, asking how he feels after receiving her power. Jagged black energy bursts uncontrollably from his arm as he cries out in alarm. He admits his fear, but she reassures him he will learn to control it. His status screen reveals new skills, which Milia notes will all be useful. A monster's claw appears, and Milia announces it is time to move forward. He expresses hesitation, but she insists his current power is enough to win. To calm his fears, she gently takes his hand in hers. She looks at him reassuringly, telling him that she is with him. A faint blush appears on his face, moved by her steadfast support. Together, they turn to face the snarling horde of monsters approaching them. With newfound resolve, Yuto clenches his fist and agrees to fight. He walks forward alone, standing bravely before the advancing line of beasts. From behind, Milia's voice urges him onward, telling him to fight. His expression hardens as he prepares to unleash the power of darkness. A distant voice speaks of Yuto's true power and limitless potential. It is revealed that with this one skill, he is the chosen one. She promises that, with this ability, he will never have to worry again. The potential is endless. He can acquire as many skills as he desires. He can seize everything he wants and hold it in his own hands. In the heat of battle, he begins to grasp his new abilities. He identifies his Black Burial skill as the power to manipulate shadows. The Ogre God's skill, he realizes, compensates for his physical weakness. He smashes a monster with a powerful focused Black Burial strike. He kneels over a downed beast, using his Absorption skill on it. Milia stands calmly, observing Yuto's progress from a safe distance. After the fight, Yuto pants in exhaustion, wondering if it is finally over. Milia confirms the absence of monsters and praises his excellent work. Catching his breath, he prepares to check his status after the intense battle. She reads his updated status, noting his level jump and powerful new skills. Standing together, she assesses that his magic capacity can handle the new powers. Milia explains the sky-splitting power of the Hard Claw skill. She continues, describing the flash that illuminates the dark abyss. An unstoppable thunderbolt is unleashed with devastating electrical force. She details the gale, a versatile power of wind. All these new skills, Milia confirms, are on par with the mighty Ogre God. Yuto wonders if everything he has absorbed is as powerful as the Ogre God. His companion Milia leans against him, urging him to keep up his efforts. With intense eyes, she reveals their ultimate goal is to destroy a country. A close-up shows Milia pressing against Yuto's back for support. She warns him that he cannot afford to be complacent in their quest. He needs to acquire even more skills, she insists, making him blush. Milia, still unclothed, asks if she shouldn't put something on. Her question leaves Yuto flustered, and he asks why she is confused. He awkwardly explains his discomfort, saying she might catch a cold. With a word, she magically summons a large dark object from thin air. She now wears a new, revealing black outfit, asking if it is acceptable. With a slight smile, she admits it is impolite to wear no clothes. Yuto, surprised, stammers that years can indeed dull one's senses. He thanks her but internally notes the minimal amount of fabric she used. With the monsters gone, Milia announces it's time to go, pointing to an exit. She declares they will take a new, different route forward. The dungeon has multiple entrances, and his original path leads to the Empire. As they walk down a new passage, she states this route is more convenient. Yuto asks how, and she offers an example with a knowing look. She simply tells him to look as the cavern wall begins to crumble. A massive crystalline monster emerges, which she says is more powerful. Yuto realizes this makes it a better opportunity for absorbing new skills. The crystalline beast smashes through the wall, charging toward them. He warns his companion to get ready for the incoming attack. He unleashes a powerful gale to deflect the monster's initial lunge. Leaping into the air, Yuto exclaims that this new path is indeed useful. He gathers energy in his hands and launches a powerful thunderbolt attack. As his spell strikes, he wonders what skills he can absorb from the beast. With a confident grin, he declares he is about to find out. The crystalline monster easily blocks his attack with its armored body. Yuto's eyes widen in shock as he realizes his attack was ineffective. The monster gathers energy, preparing its own powerful counterattack. A piercing energy beam shoots from the monster, striking Yuto directly. Thrown backward, Yuto realizes in shock the creature has long-range attacks. Deciding on a new tactic, he uses Gale to rapidly close the distance. He determines he must strike before the monster can attack again. He lunges forward, intending to steal its power with his Absorption skill. Slamming his hand on the beast, he activates his ability with a bright flash. With a look of fierce determination, he declares it is payback time. Yuto unleashes the monster's own Ore Formation skill against it. Over the defeated beast, he notes its strength. Milia warns of stronger foes. They emerge onto a cliffside overlooking a vast forest outside the empire. Melia explains her father, the king, secretly built this passage for hunting. A grim image shows a mounted head as Yuto asks if the king was hunted. Yuto, looking troubled, begins to speak to Melia about what he has learned. On a cliffside path, Melia reassures Yuto that she has passed her tears. With a determined look, she declares their focus is now revenge on the empire. Yuto hopes that their quest will bring some reward to his own parents. He feels the weight of their mission, finding the scale of it unimaginable. A memory of his own burning hatred suddenly consumes his thoughts. He recalls being selfishly summoned and forced to fight a crystalline dragon. The terror of facing death against a swarm of monsters remains vivid. His heart burns again with the memory of being abandoned by his classmates. He desperately vows to himself that he will never feel that way again. A flashback shows him fighting furiously, knowing they would kill him otherwise. Clenching his fist, he resolves that he must become much, much stronger. In the present, Yuto gazes at a long list of his many skills. Melia calls him a hard worker, but he admits he needs more practice. With a tired smile, he insists that he is only doing his best. He trails off, admitting that despite his efforts, he still fails sometimes. The sudden wave of exhaustion overwhelms him, and he faints into Melia's arms. His mind drifts to his past life, recalling his philosophy of non-intervention. He remembers thinking it was easier to simply look away from problems. In a memory, he believed his interference would ultimately change nothing. He once felt that nothing could truly be saved through hypocritical actions. The deep frustration he felt with the harshness of reality resurfaces. He recalls how he had always used this mindset to deny his weakness. With a gasp, his eyes snap open as he regains consciousness. He wakes with a start to find Melia's face inches from his. Looking up at her, he realizes with a jolt that he had fallen asleep. Melia explains that she created a defensive wall using her black burial ability. She reassures him that he was safe from any low-level monsters. Sitting alone in the dark space, Yuto apologizes for his lack of sleep. Melia informs him he just hasn't mastered the magic conversion skill yet. Yuto is shocked to learn that this ability would eliminate his need for sleep. He bitterly wishes he had possessed such a convenient power in his old world. Melia explains that the skill returns magical power directly to the body. He understands it supplements energy, calling it an amazing and useful skill. Yuto reflects that absorbing skills is meaningless if he can't handle them. With quiet resolve, he decides he must fully understand his new powers. His thoughts are interrupted as he stops, sensing something wrong ahead. Melia, seeing his abrupt halt, asks him what the matter is. He points out that the stone bridge before them is completely gone. Leaning over the edge, he notes the bridge seems to have been broken long ago. He worries about their next move, knowing it's too dangerous to descend blindly. Without warning, Melia grabs him by his collar, startling him. He lets out a surprised sound as she prepares to take action. In a sudden movement, she leaps from the cliff, dragging him into the chasm. While falling, she explains that this is a much faster way to cross. They land hard on the other side, and she chides him for being passive. Shaken from the fall, Yuto complains that he thought he was going to die. Lying on the ground, he starts to take in his new grim surroundings. He discovers they have landed in a vast graveyard littered with armored skeletons. After a skeletal hand grabs his leg, he kicks it away, realizing they are human. Standing amidst the carnage, he wonders what hellish place they found. Yuto and Melia enter a vast cavern littered with the bones of fallen warriors. Yuto observes the carnage, noting the crushed weapons and old bloodstains. Melia draws his attention to a specific set of ornate armor among the dead. She identifies the armor as belonging to the hated empire, a fact she'll never forget. Yuto questions her certainty, and she confirms her knowledge with conviction. The sight of the armor triggers a panicked memory of his classmate, Menes. He tries to rationalize, suggesting the remains must be over a century old. Melia corrects him, explaining the decay indicates the battle was only decades ago. Examining a clean skull, she speculates the flesh was melted, not rotted away. Yuto repeats her grim assessment, a growing sense of dread filling him. The ground begins to tremble violently as Melia cryptically states she knew it. With a look of terror, Yuto realizes the terrifying implication of her words. A monstrous, skeletal corpse dragon erupts from the bone-strewn cavern floor. Melia calmly informs the shocked Yuto that they have entered a dragon's nest. The beast roars as Melia expresses her satisfaction at having jumped into this place. She explains this new monster is far stronger than any they have faced before. She offers a sliver of hope, noting the powerful skills he could gain from it. Filled with doubt, Yuto wonders if he can truly face such a powerful foe. Melia reassures him, expressing her confidence that he is strong enough to survive. She then adds a perplexing warning that this is not a monster that can be defeated. Yuto is paralyzed by the terrifying scale of the monster before him. He feels an impossible sense of dread, recognizing this as a true monster. The sight triggers a memory of him timidly watching a girl being harassed. In his mind, he sees his past self, a student watching helplessly from afar. The girl's disappointed question about his fear echoes in his memory. Shaking off his past weakness, he resolves that action is the only way forward. The dragon roars as Yuto recalls the lessons he's learned in this new world. He remembers his success in protecting Menes, which fuels his confidence. With new resolve, he declares his intention to use all his skills to fight. Melia unleashes a powerful attack, creating a massive explosion of dust and rock. From within the cloud of smoke and debris, Yuto emerges with a clenched fist. His companion observes that his attack was shallow but a sufficient start. Suddenly, an unseen attack rips a fatal wound across Yuto's torso. He coughs up blood, his face a mask of shock and searing pain. The dragon's dark silhouette looms over him as he realizes what has happened. The creature lets out a triumphant roar, having landed a devastating blow. Clutching his grievous wound, Yuto screams in agony as his life begins to fade. The reflection of the monster in his eyes signals his imminent death. With immense force, the dragon smashes into the spot where he stood. His companion Melia watches the destruction with a calm, unreadable expression. For a brief moment, her eyes are closed, as if in contemplation. She opens them with a faint, knowing smile, her expectations seemingly met. The dragon lifts Yuto high into the air, impaled upon its massive horn. He is thrashed about violently, unable to escape the creature's powerful grasp. Overwhelmed by the torment, he screams that he cannot stand the pain. Lying broken in a deep crater, he feels his legs trembling from the agony. The intense, searing pain is a constant, overwhelming sensation. He is gripped by sheer terror, staring up at the monstrous form above him. Despite the pain and fear, a look of grim defiance appears on his face. He is battered and bloodied, but his will to fight remains unbroken. From the cavern floor, a colossal skeletal dragon erupts amidst a field of bones. Yuto reaches forward, his expression resolute, knowing he cannot stop in a place like this. Gravely wounded, Yuto desperately casts Black Burial, refusing to fall in this dire situation. His Black Burial stems the bleeding, so he resolves to erase the pain with sensory deprivation. He unleashes a barrage of spells, knowing these drastic measures cannot be sustained for long. Dodging another attack, he frantically thinks, realizing his best hope is to land a fatal wound. His face a mask of pained determination, Yuto forces himself to find a way to defeat it. Melia's eye widens, a silent observation of the impossible battle unfolding before her. The skeletal beast looms once more, its presence filling Yuto with dread and disbelief. From a distance, Melia identifies the monster as a corpse dragon, also called the Immortal Dragon. As Yuto fights on, she reveals the dragon's terrifying characteristic, its absolute immortality. It is a forbidden creature, one that self-regenerates with an enormous amount of magical power. Melia notes that this forbidden creature cannot even be buried by the Empire's knights. However, she holds out hope, believing that if anyone can succeed, it is Yuto. A powerful energy beam erupts from the dragon's mouth, forcing Yuto into a desperate dodge. Yuto quickly erects a massive wall of earth, successfully blocking the devastating blast. Observing from the side, Melia compliments his impressive and skillful display of power. She recognizes his tactic, noting that he has skillfully created a doll from clay. Yuto combines ore formation with explosive mixture, hoping to disrupt the regenerating beast. A massive explosion detonates near the dragon's head, catching the creature by surprise. The dragon, now distracted by the explosion, presents a momentary opening for Yuto's plan. Emerging from the shadows, Yuto taunts the beast, shouting for it to come over here. With a determined leap, he lands on the dragon, deciding he must take its skill. He slams his hand onto the beast's frame, screaming the name of his skill, Absorption. As the dragon thrashes, Yuto runs along its spine, desperately holding on. A confident smile spreads across his face, realizing he can now play with this power. He leaps from the crashing beast using his floating skill to gain distance. Hovering in the air, he reminds himself that he still cannot let his guard down. Looking at his hand, he identifies the powerful skill he has just stolen as immortality. A crazed, determined grin spreads across his face as he prepares to fight fire with fire. He gathers energy, deciding to test the dragon's own power against it. He unleashes the newly acquired erosive flame, blasting the dragon with its own energy. Standing his ground, he declares that the first attack is not yet enough to finish it. He fires another powerful beam, determined to strike the beast one more time. The immense force of the blast sends the colossal, skeletal dragon reeling backwards. From above, he unleashes another blast, yelling that he will attack again. A massive explosion of energy engulfs the dragon as he relentlessly attacks it again. His face a mask of fury, he vows to attack as many times as it takes. The defeated corpse dragon lets out one final agonizing roar before falling silent. Dust and debris rain down upon the battlefield in the aftermath of the final attack. Amidst the settling dust, the immense skeletal form of the dragon lies motionless. Yuto asks if it is over, and Melia stands beside him, confirming he has done well. Melia praises Yuto's performance, just as blood pours from his mouth from his fatal wound. As he collapses, she tells him that the dragon's powerful skill is now his to wield. The skill of immortality flows into him as his body begins to crumble from his injuries. He looks down in shock as his seemingly fatal wounds begin to rapidly regenerate. Covering his mouth in disbelief, he sees that all his wounds have vanished without a trace. Melia smiles, noting that this incredible healing power is to be expected of a forbidden skill. The corpse dragon's immortality skill allows its user to regenerate as long as they have magic. Melia casually mentions she forgot to tell him the corpse dragon is a taboo species. Plati explains that taboo refers to creatures with immense, uncontrollable power beyond human comprehension. Yuto contemplates possessing such a taboo power as Plati urges him to move on. With a confident smile, Plati announces their destination. The Great Dingirth Forest is nearby. A close-up reveals Yuto's determined face as he processes their next objective. Resolved to continue, Yuto and Plati run towards a dark cave entrance. The scene shifts to the Valencia Empire, focusing on the other summoned heroes' progress. During an intense training spar, two armored heroes are locked in a fierce sword fight. A female hero practices her magic, creating a shimmering barrier before her comrades. Commander Sieg admits to a subordinate that he was initially skeptical of the hero's abilities. The hero Miyamoto focuses his power, shouting the name of his explosive bullet skill. Miyamoto's powerful energy blast strikes a large boulder, shattering it as others watch. His classmates look on in amazement, questioning the source of his incredible new power. A close-up of the shattered rock emphasizes the devastating force of Miyamoto's magic. A female classmate praises Miyamoto's amazing display of strength and magical talent. Commander Sieg compliments Miyamoto, noting he's a skilled magician as well as a swordsman. Around the training grounds, other heroes are shown steadily growing stronger, one floating midair. The bespectacled hero Nakatani practices with a staff, eager to test his new abilities. Miyamoto humbly deflects the praise, attributing his success to the Empire's supreme leadership. Sieg encourages the modest Miyamoto, though the hero seems burdened by the attention. In another spar, the muscular hero Onizuka is sent flying backward from an attack. Onizuka is struck down and defeated by the bespectacled hero Nakatani. Sieg and Miyamoto observe the outcome of the spar with some surprise. Onizuka, on the ground, is told by Nakatani that it is okay and not to feel bad. The sound of mocking laughter fills the air as other heroes taunt Onizuka. Sieg and Miyamoto watch with exasperation, wishing Onizuka would calm down a bit more. Two heroes approach Onizuka, asking if it isn't embarrassing to lose to someone like Nakatani. One of the mockers cruelly tells the stupid muscle brain bug to shut up and train. Another hero boasts that if it were him, he would have easily beaten Nakatani. Enraged by the insults, Onizuka springs to his feet and confronts his two tormentors. Onizuka grabs one of the heroes by his collar, demanding to know what he just said. With a menacing expression, he dares the terrified hero to repeat his taunts. From the crowd, another hero questions why Onizuka is attacking his own friends. Onizuka glares at the intervening hero, threateningly asking if he wants to be next. The frightened hero asks if Onizuka is now calling him a bug as well. Miyamoto steps in, grabbing Onizuka's arm and calmly telling him to stop. Miyamoto acknowledges his frustration, but advises him not to take it out on the wrong person. Leaning in close, Miyamoto tells Onizuka to save that anger for his true enemy. Onizuka scoffs and storms away, telling Miyamoto to get out of his way. The rescued heroes thank Miyamoto, expressing their disdain for Onizuka's thuggish behavior. From a distance, a female hero watches, remarking on how cool Miyamoto was. The witch-hatted hero Kirishima observes her friend, the healer Asakura, with a sly look. Kirishima playfully startles Asakura from behind, asking if she wants to be cheered up. Asakura reassures Kirishima that she is fine, flexing her arms with a determined smile. Kirishima admits that despite everyone trying hard, she can't help but feel depressed. She adds that she is certain Nakatani is the one who feels the most pain. Asakura, looking at the dejected Nakatani, resolves that she thinks of him as a friend. With newfound determination, Asakura vows to absolutely heal Nakatani next time, no matter what. She declares she can't be depressed and must do her best, as Kirishima calls her too serious. The scene ends with Chancellor Dennis and his high-ranking entourage arriving to meet the heroes. A close-up on Commander Sieg's eye reveals his surprise at the official's sudden appearance. Commander Sieg is startled while his companion, Miyamoto, is praised as a truly wonderful hero. High-ranking officials arrive, with Chancellor Dennis calmly greeting the commander. The heroes are shown scattered after a battle, with Sieg's flawless reaction being noted. Chancellor Dennis smiles, remarking that he hasn't seen the hero since the summoning ceremony. He asks if the heroes will accompany them, as he comes bearing a royal decree. Entering an ornate room, the Chancellor apologizes for his haste and moves to the main topic. Before the assembled heroes, he asks if they recall the reason for their summoning. He announces their new mission, to exterminate the remnants of the demons on the front lines. A hero questions this change, but the previous dungeon mission is dismissed as unnecessary. The Chancellor confirms their power is real, making any further skill testing a waste of time. One of the summoned heroes asks for a clear definition of what demons actually are. With a chilling smile, the Chancellor explains that demons are simply man-eating barbarians. He elaborates that they are mankind's enemy, demi-humans with glowing red eyes. A hero repeats the term demi-humans, which the Chancellor confirms with a gesture. The heroes begin to question the morality of killing half-humans, wondering if it's murder. Chancellor Dennis cuts through the debate by reminding them this is a royal order. Miyamoto, looking down with conviction, states that he would appreciate it if they accept. He then turns to the group, loudly proclaiming his acceptance of the king's command. Miyamoto rallies his comrades, reminding them of their purpose for being summoned as heroes. Another hero agrees, suggesting it is time for them to make sense of their duty. The other students are swayed, agreeing that they now understand what they must do. Please, Chancellor Dennis thanks the heroes for their fine and resolute spirit. Tachibana, with a sharp look, declares that it is time for them to move on. The Chancellor reveals the demons are using an abandoned castle as their base of operations. Elsewhere, a prosperous demon city named Argonum is described, nestled in a forest. Yuto, walking through a cave, questions the name he has just heard. His companion, Plati, explains she heard that demons who left Lunaria lived in that castle. Hearing this, Yuto is struck by a sudden and startling realization. Plati looks on with a hopeful expression, wondering aloud if demon survivors still exist. She turns to Yuto with a knowing smile, confirming his unspoken thoughts are correct. As a small reward, she magically bestows a new, long black coat upon a surprised Yuto. He gratefully accepts, acknowledging he can't continue wearing his tattered clothes. Plati teases him, suggesting he is a person who cares a great deal about his appearance. Yuto, looking at his new coat, thanks her again with sincerity. She expresses her own gratitude, saying that because of him, she can finally go outside. He listens intently as she explains she can now fulfill the demon's long-cherished wish. She takes his hand, urging him to continue their journey forward together. The pair stand on a cliff looking out over the vast Dingirth forest toward a distant castle. Simultaneously, Miyamoto's party of heroes also gazes toward the same demon city of Argonum. Yuto looks toward the castle, the name Argonum now fixed in his mind. A close-up shows a bird's foot stepping on the forest floor. An elf-like woman is seen standing between the trees of the forest. Yuto recalls a memory from his youth when he asked his father about the castle. The memory reveals he was told the castle was inhabited by demons who had left Lunaria. He looks up, the weight of this childhood knowledge settling upon him in the present. He and Plati walk toward the castle, hoping that demon survivors might still be there. The two travel side by side through the woods, Plati looking pensive and thoughtful. She turns her head slightly, expressing her hope that they are all there. Her expression softens into a gentle, heartfelt smile as she considers the possibility. Yuto looks back at her, agreeing with a confident smile that he is sure of it. Gazing at a distant ruined castle, Yuto asks Melia about their journey time. Melia confirms Yuto's hopes as they look upon the distant demon city. While walking, Yuto is grateful that his new skills make this journey possible. He continues onward, reflecting on the long path he has been forced to take. A bandit screams as his massive sword violently slams into the ground before them. The smirking bandit leader notes the arrival of a so-called vagabond hero. Holding up a wanted poster, he tells Yuto his head is worth a fortune. Yuto and Melia listen as the bandit cheerfully tells them to die for him. The scene shifts to the desolate, ruined cityscape of Argonum, their destination. Inside, a horned woman named Ryron approaches two small demon children. The children joyfully greet her, calling her big sister with wide smiles. Carrying a large sack, Ryron strides into a large hall, announcing her name. Gaunt demon refugees look on as she announces she is coming inside. Ryron waves, warmly wishing a good morning to the assembled crowd of demons. She joyfully announces that she has managed to gather a lot of food today, With a determined look, she states her intention to prepare the food immediately. A small child apologizes to Ryron while looking into a large, empty bowl. She serves soup, telling the grateful refugees that she is just doing what she wants. A small girl holds up her bowl for seconds, unsure how to repay Ryron's kindness. Ryron cheerfully insists they owe her nothing as a child happily eats soup. She reminds them that the dragon and demon races are traditional allies. An old demon recalls their flight to this abandoned castle after the capital's tragedy. He laments their weakness, stating they are unable to even leave the forest. The old demon concludes that he cannot thank Ryron enough for her help. Ryron remembers her own childhood, recalling how well the demons treated her. Because of this, she knows that demons are not a race that harms others. She vows to help them until the day the world finally understands the truth. A small, spiky-haired demon boy shyly begins to make a promise to her. He boldly declares he will grow strong enough to protect and care for her. Ryron laughs and says she will wait for that day as the boy blushes. She pats his head encouragingly, certain he will become a splendid adult. An old demon is moved that the dragon race still honors the alliance. Ryron's playful mood vanishes as something catches her attention. She approaches a doorway, cheerfully wishing a good morning to Mr. Wright. Carrying a bowl, she tells him that dinner is ready and still warm. She pushes open the door to his room, entering the dark chamber. Her face fills with utter shock and confusion at what she sees inside. She finds Mr. Wright dead on the floor as an armored figure stands behind him. A hero stands at the entrance, identifying the refugees as demons. He proclaims they are monsters who bear their fangs against the Empire. The hero coldly announces his intention to exterminate every single one of them. Ryron watches in horror as the heroes begin to slaughter the innocent demons. From the doorway, she sees the carnage unfolding in the main hall. The demon refugees scream in terror, trying to flee from the Empire's forces. The heroes begin a cruel competition, boasting about how many they have killed. They call out escalating numbers as they continue the merciless slaughter. The blonde hero laughs maniacally, eager to join their gruesome game. He charges forward, declaring he will kill a certain number himself. Enraged, Ryron intercepts the hero's attack, their blades clashing violently. The hero notes her horns, questioning if she is even a demon. The blonde hero coldly dismisses the horned woman, Ryron, stating non-demons are not his targets. Knocked to the ground, Ryron furiously demands to know why they are being attacked. Her face contorts in rage as she screams, questioning their reasons for killing innocent people. The hero scoffs at her concept of innocence, effortlessly blocking her counterattack. With a dark, contemptuous expression, he labels the demons as cannibal barbarians. He then declares that for their kind, the very act of being alive is a sin. Ryron's gaze shifts past him, her eyes widening in horror as she sees the children. Another hero hesitates to kill children, but her ruthless comrade mocks her weakness. The warrior taunts her soft-hearted friend, saying this is why she is single. As she raises her sword to strike, Ryron intercepts the blow with incredible speed. The impact of the block is shown with a dark, forceful effect against the blade. The ruthless hero, Bud, screams in agony as the force travels up her arm. She clutches her no-injured sword hand, her face a mask of intense pain. Blood drips from Bud's hand as she continues to cry out in agony. From a distance, the blonde hero calls out to Bud, asking if she is all right. He orders their party's healer, Menace, to tend to the bleeding wound immediately. The hero glares at Ryron, accusing her of being a monster who enjoys hurting people. He frames her protective actions as an act of rebellion against the Imperial Army. With a snarl, he vows to kill her himself in his role as a hero. Ryron's form becomes more bestial as she roars, questioning what kind of heroes are murderers. The blonde hero smirks, retorting that they are the ones who are the real monsters. Far from the battle, the ruined castle of Arganum is seen from a distance. On a forest path, a weary Yuto speaks Melia's name softly as they travel. Ahead of them, they spot a group of bandits, identified as their next problem. The bandit leader sneers, wondering how many more rats he has to deal with. His men mock the two travelers, seeing them as an easy opportunity for profit. A bald bandit smirks greedily, planning to take the reward for himself. Yuto ignores their threats, telling Melia they are close to the castle. Enraged at being dismissed, the bandits prepare to attack the pair. Melia lets out a weary sigh, completely unimpressed by the crude interruption. Sometime later, the bandits lie defeated, groaning that their targets were a waste of time. Yuto and Melia continue, with Yuto wondering what they will do if they find survivors. Their boots step onto the stone path leading into the desolate city. A close-up shows Melia's intense, determined eye, focused on the goal ahead. Looking at the castle, she tells Yuto that she wants to discuss her plans with him. They arrive at the city gates, with Yuto confirming they have reached their destination. Before them lies the dark forested entrance to the city of Arcanum. Melia encourages Yudo, telling him that it is now time for them to go. She declares that as royalty, she cannot ignore people who might be starving inside. Yudo smiles in agreement, ready to follow her lead into the fallen city. Just as they enter, a massive explosion erupts from within the city walls. A foot stomps down hard on the stone ground with commanding authority. Inside, the blonde hero charges menacingly towards the terrified demi-humans. A powerful energy blast shoots from his hand, flying towards the helpless crowd. He accuses them of being monsters who harm people, citing their supposed crimes. His eye narrows with conviction as he states he carries the weight of their sins. He proclaims that he will destroy them all with his sword. He dismisses their pleas for mercy as nothing more than pathetic excuses. He unleashes a powerful attack, angrily telling them not to speak another word. The magical blast shatters a defender's weapon with a sharp, explosive impact. The hero Miyamoto shatters an opponent's weapon, accusing them of toying with life. An elf woman furiously accuses her attackers of being from the cruel empire. Miyamoto scoffs, dismissing her desperate accusations as mere excuses for their actions. He unleashes a powerful magical attack, an explosive bullet, towards the refugees. As a child cries out, the elf woman shields her, knowing they are outmatched. Miyamoto declares his actions are not born from selfish desire, but from duty. He proclaims he will destroy them in the righteous name of justice. The elf woman and the child brace for the impact of his deadly justice. From the shadows, a new voice issues a single, sharp command for the attack to die. A massive wall of earth erupts from the ground, violently intercepting the magical blast. Following the massive explosion, Miyamoto and his party stare at the blinding light. Miyamoto stares in disbelief, his mind struggling to process what just happened. Through the settling dust, Nakatani, Yudo, and Melia emerge, facing the heroes. Akane, one of the heroes, recognizes him, her mind reeling with disbelief and shock. Her shock quickly turns to joy as she confirms it is indeed Nakatani. Onizuka stomps his armored foot down, his presence announced with aggressive force. Akane watches as Onizuka bellows Nakatani's name with furious excitement. With a look of manic glee, Onizuka leaps forward, ready to attack. He expresses his twisted delight at finding Nakatani alive, seeing an opportunity. Onizuka reveals his intent to finally kill his former classmate himself. Nakatani calmly raises a hand, trapping the charging Onizuka in a sphere of energy. He unleashes his black burial technique, a massive pillar of dark power. The other heroes can only stare in horror at the overwhelming display of force. From the crowd, a hero questions if Nakatani's group was responsible for the slaughter. The two factions, heroes and demi-humans, stand opposed on the desolate battlefield. Another hero directly asks Nakatani if he killed the defenseless demi-human refugees. Miyamoto scoffs, explaining they are simply exterminating man-eating monsters as ordered. As the Horned Girl protests, Miyamoto fumes at Nakatani for daring to interfere. Nakatani cynically parrots the simplistic pity he assumes Miyamoto feels for them. The other heroes agree with the cold logic that any delay increases the damage. Nakatani labels Miyamoto a hypocrite, blind to the true reality of their situation. Miyamoto draws his blade, his resolve hardening as he addresses his former classmate. Deciding Nakatani is too dangerous, Miyamoto resolves to crush him personally. Akane steps forward, trying to stop Miyamoto from attacking his old friend. She desperately reminds him that Nakatani is their classmate, alive after so long. The Horned Girl coldly tells Akane that this situation is not her concern. Akane is taken aback, confused by the demi-human's sharp dismissal of her plea. The Horned Girl's eye narrows, her expression turning menacing and dangerous. She questions Akane's identity, her gaze filled with suspicion and threat. Nakatani looks over his shoulder, his expression calm and ready for the inevitable conflict. Miyamoto charges, his sword clashing violently against a dark shield conjured by Nakatani. Miyamoto sneers, warning Nakatani not to get arrogant, just from defeating Onizuka. Nakatani coldly tells him that next time, he should die properly like a disease. The force of Miyamoto's blow explodes against Nakatani's shadowy defense. From the sidelines, the other heroes marvel at Miyamoto's incredible swordsmanship. One hero admits he's never seen such a technique, wondering how strong Miyamoto has become. Another hero expresses his fear, admitting he doesn't want to be on Miyamoto's side. Miyamoto unleashes another explosive bullet, firing a concentrated blast from his gauntlet. Nakatani raises his open gloved hand, preparing to deflect the incoming attack. Miyamoto mocks Nakatani for only defending, calling him a miserable opponent. From a distance, Yudo stands defensively as Miyamoto taunts him. Miyamoto mocks his former classmate further, calling him a miserable guy. A concerned Akane watches the confrontation, calling out a name in distress. The Horned Girl, Ryan, calmly tells her to observe the duel closely. With focused intensity, Yuto parries Miyamoto's aggressive sword strike. Akane lets out a small gasp, surprised by Yuto's defensive power. Now at close range, Miyamoto demands Yuto acknowledge his superior strength. He boasts that he grew stronger while Yuto was gone. Miyamoto proudly declares that this is the true power of a hero. His companion Melia dismisses his boast, stating she has no need for such power. Miyamoto's smug expression instantly vanishes, replaced by stunned confusion. His eyes widen in disbelief as he questions what she could possibly mean. In a flash, Yuto unleashes a powerful, sweeping attack of dark energy. The force of the blow sends a shockwave through Miyamoto's body. Victorious, Yuto and Melia calmly stand over their defeated opponent. Lying on the ground, Miyamoto asks what just happened to him. He clutches his head in agony, utterly defeated by the attack. The chapter title, Reunion, marks the beginning of a tragic flashback. Miyamoto's group of heroes is shown in disarray amidst a chaotic battle. A foot stomps down, signaling the start of a desperate retreat. Panicked shouts order the heroes to fall back immediately. Yuto and Melia calmly state that only support units should stay behind. Melia stops Yuto, telling him to wait for her signal. She uses her summon ability, creating familiars to carry supplies. Next, Melia directs Yuto's attention towards a group of healers. The healer, a girl named Nakatani, is shown working diligently. Yuto observes the scene with a grim, shadowed expression. In pain, Melia urges Yuto to go, insisting she has things under control. She pants from exertion, clutching her arm as her magic takes its toll. Yuto slams his hand on the ground, activating his absorption skill. A nearby hero is stunned by the sudden, powerful display of magic. From the rear, Yuto watches the remaining pockets of resistance. The witch hat girl calls out to the healer with concern. She expresses her worry for Nakatani-kun during the intense battle. The healer asks her to wait just a moment longer. With a reassuring smile, Nakatani says she is currently curing someone. Suddenly, Yuto appears, shielding the group from a volley of projectiles. The witch hat girl looks on in shock from behind the healer. The force of the impact sends the witch hat girl flying backward. Melia watches with horror, realizing the situation is now critical. Her hand trembles as she assesses the grave danger to her friends. Yuto kneels and casts healing magic on an injured classmate. The healed girl looks on in utter disbelief at the unexpected magic. With a grim and shadowed face, Yuto stands ready for the next threat. The witch hat girl desperately calls out for them to keep moving. Her urgent plea echoes through the chaotic battlefield. Elsewhere, Miyamoto grieves over the body of his fallen friend, Onizuka. He cries out his friend's name in pure anguish. A female classmate urgently pleads with the distraught Miyamoto to retreat. Yuto, Melia, and Ryan watch the tragic scene from a safe distance. Yuto observes the chaotic retreat from the rear, his face grim. Inside the fortress, Ryan's expression contorts with fury and frustration. Overcome with rage, the horned warrior lunges forward to stop the retreat. She desperately screams at her fleeing comrades, telling them not to run away. An imperial warrior, her long ponytail flying, moves to intercept the charge. The two fighters collide in a dynamic flurry of motion and power. Ryan expresses her disgust, accusing the Imperials of acting selfishly at will. Looking down on her opponent, the Imperial warrior calls them cowards. With a cry of pain, Ryan is struck, blood erupting from her mouth. Now defeated on the ground, Ryan grunts as her enemy stands over her. She watches in horror as the Imperial prepares to deliver a final blow. Ryan desperately calls out for Yuto to wait, seeing him start to turn away. He calmly notes that the enemy's numbers are currently fewer than their own. Yuto instructs Ryan that their priority must be the injured survivors. With a bloodied lip, Ryan looks down, accepting the difficult but necessary command. In a quiet, sorrowful moment, Yuto speaks the name of a fallen comrade, Melia. Beside him, the other Melia stands over the body of the deceased. Yuto reaches down and gently closes the dead person's eyes. A wide view reveals the desolate, ruined hall littered with fallen warriors. Yuto and Melia survey the makeshift graveyard, a field of memorial swords. He clenches his fist in regret, lamenting that his powers were sealed. Melia looks at a corpse, stating that the dead cannot be brought back. Seeing her sorrow, Yuto quietly says her name to get her attention. Melia looks down, her expression full of quiet grief and resignation. Yuto reaches out with a look of determined empathy. With a resolute expression, he prepares to take action. He unleashes his healing magic, creating an aura of restorative light. Kneeling among children, Yuto is thanked by one he has healed. From a distance, Ryan watches this act with dawning curiosity. She cautiously approaches Yuto and Melia, stammering as she tries to speak. Ryan hesitantly asks if she has the wrong idea about who they are. She apologizes in advance in case she has mistaken them for others. Her eyes widen in recognition as she wonders if it could truly be Melia. Melia looks at her with knowing eyes as Ryan realizes her identity. Rin's face becomes a mask of pure shock and disbelief. The other survivors also recognize her, calling out to Lady Melia. Overcome with emotion, Rian collapses, apologizing for her failure. She continues to weep, convinced she couldn't do anything to protect them. Looking up with tear-filled eyes, she insists that it is all her fault. Melia gently pats her head, teasingly calling her a crybaby. Ryan asks through her tears if her body has gotten any bigger. Melia notes that Rian has grown taller, calling her cheeky. She pulls her friend into a tight embrace, telling her she did a great job. Embracing Ryan, Melia finds comfort in knowing she is no longer alone. Ryan weeps into Melia's shoulder, thanking her for the reassurance. The two friends embrace, a tribute to their reunion amid the tragedy. Yuto and the other survivors watch the emotional moment unfold. A fallen sword lies on the ground as Yuto walks away from the scene. Yuto looks forward with a determined expression, his mind on what's next. The survivors gather at the edge of the vast graveyard, preparing to move on. In a desolate landscape, huddled figures sit amidst large rocks under a bleak sky. A group of survivors, mostly children in ragged clothes, look upon the fallen. The horned warrior Ryan and the noblewoman Melia stand together, determined. Rin looks at Melia with dawning recognition, questioning if it is truly her. A vast field of swords stands as a grim, makeshift graveyard for the many dead. Yuto gently places a hand on a grieving Miyamoto, telling him to rest. Melia observes Miyamoto, acknowledging the regrets he must feel from the tragedy. With a solemn look, Yuto promises that they will carry those regrets for him. Melia turns her attention to the horned warrior, calling out Ryan's name. She asks Rian for a private word, intending to discuss important matters. Rin looks over the crowd of refugees with a heavy heart before agreeing. The two women walk away from the group to speak in private. A small crowd of the remaining survivors, mostly children, stand together. Melia offers a slight, knowing smile before beginning their conversation. Against the backdrop of ruins, Melia states her intent to ask about many things. On a high stone walkway, Rin asks to speak with Yuto first. She questions the nature of the relationship between Yuto and Melia. Yuto realizes he needs to properly introduce his companion. With a dramatic flourish, Melia introduces the horned warrior simply as Rin. Yuto offers a slightly awkward but accepting smile at the sudden introduction. Melia gives a knowing look, pleased with her simple declaration. Ryan concedes that the introduction, while blunt, is indeed true. She clarifies for Yuto that she and Melia are like childhood friends. Yuto expresses his surprise, learning their friendship stems from an old alliance. Melia explains that the previous Demon King, Melfisama, protected the dragon race. A flashback shows a young, frail Rin recalling her people's persecution. The dragon race is depicted as a nomadic caravan, always on the move. During their travels, an exhausted young Rin collapses onto the harsh ground. An older dragon supports the nearly unconscious Rin, despairing in the wasteland. He tries to offer encouragement, mentioning a water source just ahead. A dark winged creature is seen descending from the sky above them. The Demon King Melfisama arrives on his dragon, identifying the weary travelers. Melfisama looks upon the weakened dragon folk with a kind expression. He compassionately offers them rest and sanctuary within his country. The demons are shown welcoming the dragon race with open arms. The two races joined hands, with their leaders aiming for a world of peace. Rin explains this is how the ruler's children formed a fellowship. Yuto understands their bond and asks what happened to change things. Melia reveals that after the fall of the royal capital, the roles reversed. The demon city became a refuge, but the empire's forces drew near. Rin admits she lacked the strength to fight and was forced to flee. Yuto asks where she has been, having only recently returned. Melia reveals that Rin was in a state of dormancy. Ryan repeats the word with a look of pained memory. Melia explains that dormancy is a form of long hibernation. This state suppresses one's magic, hiding them from enemies. Rin recounts that upon her return, only the weak remained in the city. The able-bodied had already left to fight, becoming the remnants. She admits that despite their efforts, they were no match for the heroes. Yuto's grim face shows he understands the threat the hero Miyamoto represents. With a shadowed face, Rin mourns that the slain children were truly good kids. Yuto looks over the ruins, agreeing they did nothing to deserve being killed. Overcome with grief and guilt, Rin breaks down, trying to suppress her sobs. Yuto's expression is grim and understanding as he watches his grieving companion. Melia looks on with a heavy heart, sharing in the somber atmosphere. A flicker of gratitude emerges as Rin begins to speak despite her sorrow. She gratefully expresses that without Yuto and Melia, everyone would have been killed. Leading the survivors away, Yuto expresses his relief that some were at least saved. Now composed, Rin addresses Melia directly, inquiring about the man with them. Yuto tilts his head, confused as to why Rin is asking about him. From above Yuto, Melia prepares to formally introduce the person in question. With a dramatic flourish, Melia presents the man in her arms as Yuto. A bead of sweat forms as Yuto mutters a non-committal, annoyed agreement. Rin gives a smug, knowing smile, confirming she was right about their relationship. Melia observes Rin's reaction, her own expression turning slightly exasperated. Finding it bothersome, Melia complains that Yuto dumped the explanation on her. Yuto begins his explanation, stating he was summoned with the heroes but separated. Melia adds that Yuto is an enemy of the Empire, making him their ally. Rin expresses her disbelief, questioning how a hero could possibly be their ally. Leaping down, Melia confidently declares that Yuto is stronger than other heroes. Rin hesitantly agrees, recalling how Yuto effortlessly dealt with his previous opponents. Melia suggests it's better to think of Yuto as a demon, not a hero. Rin looks towards Yuto, trying to process the strange idea of a demon hero. Looking over the ruins, Melia notes that her arrival was a little late. Yuto and Melia now stand facing one another in a moment of understanding. Yuto reveals that he has also found a clue for their counterattack. Melia asks Yuto if he did well with his recent endeavor. In response, Yuto raises his hand and chants the word for summon. The cavern instantly fills with small cloaked creatures, much to Rin's shock. Yuto explains that while individually weak, their power comes from their sheer numbers. Melia adds that they took their power and supplies, asking if Yuto aimed for that. He confirms the summon skill was a byproduct, but will be very useful. Rin reacts with utter disbelief, asking if Yuto can really steal skills. Yuto explains with a smile that the skill robbery is only temporary. Melia then clarifies that for Yuto, the stolen skill is a permanent acquisition. Rin can only marvel at what she considers to be an incredible power. Melia reveals the Empire knows of the skill, having called it unlucky. Yuto reflects on the name unlucky skill, wondering who first called it that. He considers his original power useless compared to the outrageous skills he now has. He remembers that only Melia knew the true power of his unique skill. Melia asks if he was the one who rolled over the earlier groups. The phrasing confuses Yuto, who questions the term roll with a puzzled look. A memory surfaces of the defeated bandits, the source of his vital clue. He recalls the crude wanted poster that one of the bandits was holding. Looking towards the distant castle, Yuto now understands the situation completely. The captured bandit insists he has told them everything he knows about the Empire. He frantically begs to be released, fearing he will die if he lingers. Yuto's group stands before the captive, calmly holding the incriminating Imperial document. A terrifying, shadowy creature with glowing eyes looms over the terrified bandit. Rin asks Yuto for his thoughts as they face the ominous enemy castle. A young man, Yuto, looks on with an expression of pure, startled shock. Uncertainty fills the air as he admits that he doesn't know the answer. In the Holy Empire Valencia, a fist smashes down in absolute frustration. The impact of a furious punch cracks a solid stone wall nearby. Inside the castle guest room, the defeated heroes are scattered and demoralized. The group stands together in the grand hall, their faces etched with weariness. In the treatment room, a lone figure lies on a bed injured. The witch-hatted Akan approaches a friend, asking if she is feeling all right. Her friend reassures her that she feels fine, without a single scar remaining. Akan touches her own face, remarking that the ordeal felt like a surreal dream. Overcome with emotion, her friend grabs her, crying about her fear for the future. Aoi, his face a mask of rage, screams Akani's name from across the hall. His torso is heavily wrapped in bandages, a testament to his recent battle. He confronts Akani, angrily accusing her of hiding knowledge from the group. Aoi aggressively demands she reveal her secret abilities and what she's hiding. The bandaged hero Naoki tries to calm his own racing thoughts and anger. Minae coolly explains that her ability merely improves her eyesight a little. With intense glowing eyes, she insists that is the full extent of her power. Aoi stammers in disbelief, but Minae promises to provide him with an answer. She addresses the entire room, stating she saw Nakatani's story with her own eyes. The other heroes listen intently as Minae begins to recount her tale. Aoi challenges her, recalling Nakatani's supposedly useless sucking skill. With a slight, confident smile, Minae prepares to reveal the shocking truth. A flashback begins, showing her watching a silhouetted Nakatani from afar. She remembers observing him from a distance in a desolate, dark space. A close-up of Minae's eye reflects Nakatani's status, listing his many powers. She announces to the stunned heroes that Nakatani possessed countless skills. Her classmates react with utter shock, questioning how it could be possible. Aoi, kneeling in defeat, demands to know what she means by her claim. Minae calmly reiterates her statement, reminding him of her enhanced vision. She maintains that she knows nothing more than what her eyes can show her. Frustrated, Aoi looks down and curses under his breath at this revelation. He clutches his neck, angrily denouncing Nakatani's ability as a cowardly power. The group walks down a long, ornate corridor, a new tension between them. Mine silently disagrees with Aoi's assessment, believing the power isn't cowardly. Akan's bare feet tread softly on the cold, polished stone floor. She wonders aloud if they must fight Nakatani, noting he protects demons. Her doubt deepens as she questions if demons are truly man-eating monsters. Aoi snaps back at her, clearly angered by her line of questioning. Unfazed, Akane continues to wonder what the Empire truly wants from them. Minas calls out to the others, her voice stopping them in the hall. She looks on with a surprised expression, a bead of sweat on her face. Minas calls out to her friend, seeing her standing with a new figure. The man asks Minase if she's okay, advising her not to overdo it. Aoi eyes the stranger with deep suspicion, wondering about the man's identity. The nobleman Malcolm looks over the heroes, remarking on their incredible state. He identifies them with a hint of mockery as the party of heroes. Malcolm comments on how battered and worn out the entire group appears. He directly taunts Aoi, noting his heroic strength skill was evidently useless. Aoi glares at the smirking nobleman and demands to know who he is. Aoi looks on as a man begins speaking, expressing his desire for the heroes to know their benefactors. While casually cleaning his ear, the man introduces himself as Malcolm Salisford, the finance minister. From an overhead view, a hero questions Malcolm's purpose, to which he mocks their retreat. Malcolm smirks, denying any blame for their comrade Nakatani joining the enemy remnants. Bandaged and weary, Aoi questions Malcolm, stating that without him, they'd be in worse condition. With a confident smile, Malcolm reveals that the other nobles never expected them to survive the dungeon. Leaning uncomfortably close, he reminds Aoi that they cannot afford to let the matter end here. He then twists the knife, taunting Aoi as a hero beaten by an imperfect skill. Aoi's visible eye flashes with pure, unadulterated rage at the condescending and personal insult. Pulling back, Malcolm feigns alarm at Aoi's reaction, finding his anger amusingly scary. Changing his tone, Malcolm offers to teach them everything about Nakatani's power and his demon allies. His expression becomes intense as he promises to reveal every single detail about their new foe. He cruelly suggests that Nakatani might already be dead, killed by assassins he dispatched. Malcolm explains he has made arrangements so the underworld can recognize Nakatani's face. Clenching his fist, he urges the heroes to hurry if they truly desire revenge. Suddenly, Kuroki rushes forward, his fist smashing into the wall just beside Malcolm's head. The tattooed hero confronts the minister, calling him a big-shot bastard for his arrogance. Grabbing Malcolm's collar, Kuroki furiously demands to know Nakatani's location and his secrets. Unfazed, Malcolm calmly tells Kuroki to relax, calling the heroes savages for their aggression. As Kuroki struggles, demanding to be released, Malcolm promises to tell him everything he wants. While still cleaning his ear, Malcolm dismisses Kuroki's rage, questioning what the big deal is. Kuroki screams, demanding to know the tricks that the fucking skill bastard Nakatani used. Malcolm begins his explanation, stating Nakatani's power is unbelievable, like that of a demon king. Aoi reacts with shock and confusion, questioning the very mention of a demon king. Malcolm clarifies that the original demon king was defeated by their empire years ago. He boasts that since that victory, his Salisford family has been building its power and reputation. With a smug grin, Malcolm poses the rhetorical question of how they defeated such a foe. A mysterious woman with long hair and glasses appears, cryptically stating that she knows everything. The scene shifts to the imposing Salisford mansion, where the heroes have been brought. Now playing the gracious host, Malcolm announces that it is time for their discussion to begin. The heroes, including Kuroki and Minase's group, are seated at a long, formal dining table. Aoi leans forward intently, demanding to hear about the power of the so-called Demon King. From the head of the table, Malcolm formally begins his briefing to the assembled heroes. The armored hero, Tachibana, listens with a serious expression as Malcolm prepares to start. Daintily wiping his mouth with a napkin, Malcolm begins with the dungeon they first visited. An image of the dungeon's mountainous entrance appears as Malcolm reveals its true name. He explains that the dungeon was not just a labyrinth, but once a city ruled by the Demon King. Malcolm describes the dungeon as a place filled with the demon's resentment and a girl's magic. This lingering power, he explains, is why monsters endlessly spawn, making it a perfect test. Tachibana questions the identity of that girl, and Malcolm confirms his unspoken suspicion. He reveals the girl is the Demon King's daughter, her forlorn image appearing in the panel. Malcolm casually mentions she was sealed in the dungeon's depths, wishing they had killed her. Another hero at the table confirms that the girl with Nakatani must be the sealed one. Malcolm dismisses her as a mere child despite her lineage and asks for more to drink. He suddenly taunts the heroes, asking if they mind the fact that they lost to her. Kuroki angrily retorts that they only fought Nakatani, who would never let a girl lead them. Malcolm clarifies that Nakatani's power was unsealed by the girl's own latent abilities. Minace listens, as Malcolm suggests they couldn't have done much with their own current power. She glares at him, a bead of sweat on her face as she processes the stinging insult. The weight of their failure is shown as Minace looks on, with Nakatani's silhouette looming large. Minace stands with her eyes closed, seemingly calm and lost in thought. Her eyes suddenly snap open, wide with an intense analytical focus. A close-up reveals her eye reflecting a complex status screen, showing her unique ability. A woman with glasses grabs Akane, explaining that humans are fundamentally powerless creatures. From behind the heroes, she elaborates that humans are weak compared to other races. The bandaged hero Aoi grimly states that one of humanity's weapons is hero summoning. Minister Malcolm begins a history lesson, stating a hero destroyed the demons years ago. An illustration shows the legendary hero Rei, a being with the combined power of many. The armored hero, Tachibana, asks if Malcolm is implying they are weak. Aoi, his face contorted in rage, bluntly confirms that is exactly what Malcolm means. Malcolm expresses his disappointment, calling them inferior even to his private army. The hero Nakatani interjects, trying to bring the topic back to the present. A mysterious hooded figure stands silently among the group of heroes. The aggressive hero Onizuka glares, ready to make his own point. He slams the table, shouting he doesn't care about the Demon King and demands info on Yudo. The hero Miyamoto asks the Prime Minister what he means by their weakness. With a knowing smile, the Prime Minister addresses the assembled heroes. He reveals their innate ability to learn the powers of their opponents. Miyamoto asks in disbelief if they truly possess such a skill. A blonde official explains the legendary hero Rei was summoned with this extraordinary power. Miyamoto is stunned to learn his heroic strength skill was originally Rei's. The official recounts how Rei's power grew simply by observing other people's skills. Miyamoto expresses his shock at a power that grew so strong it couldn't be handled. The official concludes that the current heroes have inherited all of Rei's abilities. The Prime Minister smiles, preparing to reveal the final piece of the puzzle. He clasps his hands, telling them they only need to unify their powers. Watching from the side, the witch-hatted Minace finds this development interesting. Onizuka smirks confidently at the table and snaps his fingers. He boasts that it's easy to imitate weaklings and shatters the table with an energy blast. A nearby hero complains that Onizuka just copied his ability. The other heroes are shocked, questioning when Onizuka learned Heiki's skill. Miyamoto closes his eyes, processing the revelation with a quiet understanding. A dangerous smirk spreads across his face as he grasps the new possibilities. In a different part of the world, a town is nestled within a valley of sharp mountains. A cloaked figure looks down upon the town, commenting on the tight space. Yudo and his companions walk the streets in new, formal black attire. He reflects that wearing the formal attire of a demon lord is extremely risky. He muses that his carefree companion, Melia, likely doesn't grasp the true danger. As they walk, Yudo appears uncertain about their next move. Melia turns to Yudo and asks if they shouldn't be more cautious. They discuss their safety, concluding they are safe from the general populace. Rin happily notes that it has been a while since they could walk through a town together. She expresses gratitude towards Lady Melia for making their peaceful outing possible. The group walks through the ruined streets towards a large, imposing fortress. Melia states that it is a royal's duty to protect her people. Yudo thanks Rin for accompanying him, saying he can count on her. He looks up at a large banner bearing a prominent imperial crest. A captured bandit begins to reveal who gave them the wanted letter. He names Salisford, the imperial finance minister, as the culprit. The bandit describes Salisford as a corrupt noble who is worse than any thief. Following a tip from a captured bandit, the group heads toward Malcolm Salisford's territory. Arriving in the finance minister's domain, Yudo considers the grim reality before him. His companions immediately notice the heavy, oppressive atmosphere hanging over the town's residents. Yudo determines that their first course of action must be to gather information. Melia eagerly agrees, declaring her readiness to start asking questions around the city. Rin, while enjoying a snack, gives a quiet but firm nod of agreement. The party begins their investigation by approaching an elderly citizen near a public fountain. In the street, a distraught man bumps into Yudo, completely lost in his misery. Yudo's companions are taken aback by the open displays of sorrow from the townsfolk. Nearby, a couple clings to one another, weeping in a heartbreaking embrace. Having seen enough, Yudo quietly states that he now understands the situation completely. Later, Yuto confirms his worst impressions of Malcolm, but notes his family's long history. Rin recounts that the Salsford family first rose to prominence years ago. Yuto explains they used their hero summoning technique to conquer the royal capital overnight. Seeing Melia's concern, Rin encourages Yuto to continue with his explanation. He describes how the hero's growing power and achievements made them popular among the people. The Empire's ruling class, however, began to view this immense power as a threat. Standing before a hero statue, Yuto recalls the official legend of noble sacrifice. Rin reveals the dark rumor. The Empire actually killed the hero in a dungeon trap. Yuto, his expression grim, voices his firm belief that the rumor is true. Melia silently concurs, sharing his assessment of the Empire's capacity for cruelty. Yuto then details how Minister Malcolm now uses his position to oppress the people. He mentions a so-called Declaration of Emancipation of Slaves as one of Malcolm's schemes. This cruel policy was also applied to the poor from the slums and to orphans. Hearing this, Melia clenches her fists, declaring she cannot forgive such predatory evil. Rin's eyes narrow, her expression hardening with anger at the injustice of it all. She asks Yuto if he knows the enemy's location, which he calmly confirms. Melia, filled with righteous fury, urges them to go, startling Rin with her intensity. Rin then asks Yuto what supplies they will need to purchase for their mission. Looking over his shoulder, Yuto thoughtfully considers her practical question. Melia answers for him, declaring they must find a weapon perfectly suited for Yuto. The group contemplates the daunting task of arming themselves for the coming conflict. Melia offers to assist Yuto in his choice, since he is new to this world. She adds that she also wants to find a reward for Rin for her help. Inside a grand armory, Melia expresses her concern about the expensive-looking merchandise. Yuto leans in close to her, covering his mouth to share a secret. He quietly explains that he sold the valuable horn from a skeletal dragon he defeated. Reassured about their finances, Melia agrees that their situation is fine. The shopkeeper welcomes them warmly, presenting his proud selection of fine wares. He boasts that his top-quality swords and shields are forged from unbreakable super iron. Rin points to a specific sword on the wall, drawing the shopkeeper's attention. Yuto's gloved hands indicate his interest in a unique pair of gauntlets. He then points to a large battle axe, much to the merchant's surprise. Yuto's attention is captured by a magical tool designed to manipulate magical powers. His expression is serious and calculating as he inspects the unique artifact. The shopkeeper explains that such an item's power is beyond ordinary humans. He confesses it's merely a commemorative decoration, celebrating the hero's summoning. A sly, confident smile spreads across Yuto's face as he listens. He tells the bewildered shopkeeper that this particular item is exactly what he wants. As the merchant expresses his shock, Melia joyfully hefts a massive scythe. Inside a high-end weapons shop, Melia finds a massive scythe and exclaims her admiration. Yuto and Lady Melia observe the weapon, wondering if it's merely a decorative piece. The shopkeeper nervously explains he was hoping a hero with great knowledge would one day visit. Yuto notes its decorative nature implies good performance, and Lady Melia decides they will buy it. Melia, with a shocked expression, begins to question the store owner about the weapon. She stammers to Lady Melia, completely stunned by the item's staggering price tag. Unfazed, Lady Melia places a heavy pouch of money on the counter to complete the purchase. The shopkeeper notes that they must have sold valuable materials from the dungeon to afford it. His hands rest on the weapon's shaft, near a pair of Yuto's discarded gauntlets. He pitches his store's quality to Yuto, mentioning its many transactions with the Empire. While the shopkeeper asks for their future business, Yuto examines a shield on the wall. Yuto learns that the powerful Lord Salsford uses the store for special requests. The shopkeeper elaborates that most of their wares are custom orders that ordinary people can't handle. Lady Melia aggressively demands to know more about Salsford's story and if she can buy it. Yuto cheerfully interjects, asking to see the Lord's orders for reference, and the shopkeeper agrees. The proprietor asks them to wait a moment while he retrieves the requested document. Melia wonders aloud if this intelligence gathering was their true objective for visiting the shop. Yuto laughs off her suspicion, claiming he hadn't even thought about that. As the shopkeeper returns, Yuto thanks Melia for waiting patiently with him. The shopkeeper unfurls a scroll, revealing the request from the mysterious Mr. Salsford. The group confirms the document is indeed a request from the very man they're investigating. Lady Melia's eye narrows with intense focus as she absorbs the new information. The scene shifts to a grand arched hall, setting the stage for a meeting within the Empire. A voice notes Lady Melia's senses are exceptionally sharp. At a conference in the Empire, Malcolm discusses the possibility of a hero surviving the dungeon. He lounges in his chair, lamenting his lack of a solid footing in the current situation. A close-up on his mouth hints at the deceitful nature of his words. Malcolm questions what might happen now that the Demon King's daughter has been unsealed. He confidently declares that he will be the hero needed to solve this problem. His associate, Dennis, soberly notes that the other heroes will only become stronger. Malcolm sneers, boasting his private army is enough to handle any stray heroes or little girls. His rival Dennis coolly suggests that the knights are therefore unnecessary as escorts. Malcolm taunts Dennis, claiming he has little understanding of the situation. An associate warns it would be a problem to underestimate Malcolm's private army. A powerful figure slams their foot on the table, putting an end to the argument. It is decided to leave the matter, including the management of the heroes, to Malcolm. His associate eagerly confirms to Dennis that he will handle everything. Malcolm leans back in his chair with a look of absolute smug triumph. In stark contrast, Dennis sits with his hands clasped, his expression deeply worried. Riding away, Malcolm laughs maniacally about the look on Dennis's face. He wonders aloud why Dennis is so incompetent, despite their close association. He boasts of his superiority in money, power, and wisdom. Looking over the city at night, Malcolm declares the seat of power will soon be his. His carriage arrives at his grand castle-like mansion, where he is welcomed back. A new authoritative voice calls out Malcolm's name from the top of the grand staircase. He turns to his butler, impatiently demanding a report on the situation. Malcolm asks about the location of the stray hero and the little girl. He condescendingly asks his servant if his targets are dead yet. The butler bows deeply, reporting that not a single one of the deployed men has returned. He trembles in fear, understanding the gravity of the catastrophic news he has just delivered. With a smug smile, Finance Minister Malcolm greets his butler upon returning home. His pleasant demeanor shatters as he violently kicks the servant to the ground. Pinning the butler with his foot, Malcolm snarls his hatred for jokes. He furiously rants about the immense cost of his failed operation. Frustrated, Malcolm wonders why not a single one of his men has reported back. A stern voice from the shadows suddenly calls out his name, stopping him cold. Looking up, he sees a figure on the grand staircase, announcing his arrival. Malcolm's arrogance evaporates into shock as he stammers his father's title. He desperately tries to justify himself, claiming the heroes are under his control. With a forced smile, he attempts to reassure his father that all is well. His father's face is a mask of disappointment as he warns Malcolm not to underestimate the hero. A cryptic, menacing smile plays on his father's lips as he asks if Malcolm truly knows where he lives. Looking up at the ornate ceiling, Malcolm nervously tells his father not to worry. His father and an associate turn their backs, their heavy footsteps echoing as they depart. Left alone, Malcolm curses in rage and frustration as the others walk away. He fumes at having to rely on what he considers useless people. In a different part of the mansion, the father and his associate look into a cell. They discuss the captive children, with the father explaining his reasoning. From the darkness of the cell, a slight stirring motion is seen. Two pairs of glowing eyes stare back as the father promises his help when the time comes. His face breaks into a confident, secretive smile, hinting at his own hidden victory plan. In a forest clearing, Melia expresses concern over wanted posters, but Lady Melia is unbothered. Lady Melia coolly states that no insignificant person will be able to stop them. Yuto and Melia share a serious look, contemplating the power they were abandoned with. Taking a purposeful step forward, Lady Melia begins to lay out her intentions. Yuto asks his companions why they have come to this specific, secluded place. He declares his intention to scatter some bait, which leaves Ryan confused. Lady Melia asks Yuto if he believes there are any decent people among the heroes. Yuto thoughtfully admits he isn't sure about decent, but definitely finds them suspicious. With a sly smile, Lady Melia suggests that she shares some of his hypocritical tendencies. She clarifies that her plan is not specifically targeting Yuto himself. A bewildered Ryan asks Lady Melia to explain what she is planning to do. Lady Melia reveals her goal is to have the heroes help quell the people's dissatisfaction. Yuto elaborates, explaining that the heroes will take on the role of cornering Malcolm. Lady Melia then questions who exactly will be the ones to confront the corrupt minister. The group acknowledges that, as outsiders, they cannot act directly within Malcolm's territory. Yuto explains that the heroes, also outsiders, are the ones most likely to take action. He confidently asserts that he knows exactly which heroes will be motivated to move. Lady Melia suddenly gets close to Ryan, calling her name to capture her full attention. She looks at Ryan and muses aloud, wondering if the situation is complicated. Ryan, flustered and sweating, quickly insists that nothing is wrong. She then reflects that since Yuto was a hero, this is where he truly belongs. Lady Melia dismisses that idea, telling Ryan to wait and listen. Pointing forward, a still confused Ryan asks what the bait actually is. As Lady Melia throws a bag, a cloaked figure darts from the woods to grab it. The figure greedily snatches the bag, a dark aura swirling around the prize. Tripping over, the thief falls as Lady Melia explains this is the kind of bait she means. Yuto watches the scene with a look of mild surprise on his face. He lets out a small, quiet sigh, a faint, amused smile touching his lips. The dazed figure lies on the forest floor, their plan to get rich quick foiled. In a dark cave, Yuto kneels over a defeated bandit, asking if he knows of the heroes. The terrified hooded man understands that if heroes are involved, the means are irrelevant. Yuto instructs the man on the specific message to deliver concerning a targeted girl. Leaning in close, Yuto details the vicious rumor to be spread about Finance Minister Malcolm. With a confident smile, Yuto asks the nervous bandits if they understand their task. The bandit asks in disbelief if he will be let go just for doing that. Yuto warns the man there will be no second chances, then asks about his friends. The man insists he cannot sell out his comrades, but Yuto reassures him. Yuto clarifies he wants the man's friends to help deliver the information to the heroes. The bandit reveals his group uses identifying marks on their bodies for recognition. Yuto confirms he understands, showing a similar mark on his own gloved hand. Helia gives the order for the bandits to go, sending them on their mission. Yuto and his companions watch as their unwilling messengers depart into the woods. Helia comments on Lady Melia's tough nature, which seems to amuse Yuto. Saris observes from a distance, thinking that Yuto himself is quite something. With a determined step, Helia announces it is time for them to continue moving forward. The party discusses their strategy to lure out and strike the corrupt finance minister. Saris thoughtfully notes that Malcolm isn't the type to call for reinforcements. She acknowledges this is an advantage against their enemy's superior military strength. The scene shifts to Finance Minister Malcolm's territory at Training Ground 1. Inside the vast training yard, a hero shows another how to handle crystal magic. A group of heroes watches as one of their own trains with a punching bag. Naoki Miyamoto unleashes a powerful magical explosion, impressing his classmates. Miyamoto examines his hand, pleased with the great power he has just manifested. His classmates praise his amazing talent and ability to quickly master new skills. Iwao Onizuka scoffs at the others, deriding them as a bunch of small fry. He complains that they can only use basic abilities and that it can't be helped. Onizuka glares at another hero, angrily telling him to be useful next time. A young woman wearing a witch's hat observes the scene with a thoughtful expression. She remarks to a friend that it seems only a few are truly motivated to improve. Her friend Natsuki clenches her fist, declaring she also needs to become stronger. The witch hat girl expresses her determination to bring Nakatani back this time. Another classmate asks Natsuki if she is still saying that, calling it impossible. Natsuki looks away, admitting that what she witnessed was not nothing. She downplays her reaction, claiming she merely fainted from the shock. The witch hat girl changes the subject to Malcolm's territory, asking about dangerous rumors. A friend confirms hearing about slaves, wondering if such cruelty is normal here. Natsuki expresses her fear that they too could be made into slaves. The group agrees they must fight, noting Miyamoto is the only one learning skills. They consider that their best chance of survival is staying behind Miyamoto's protection. A girl with her hair in a bun asks Miyamoto if his training is going smoothly. Miyamoto confirms he has gained a few new skills and abilities thanks to the training. Malcolm scoffs, asking contemptuously if he has only gained a few skills. He taunts the heroes, boasting that his powerful private soldiers can handle things. Onizuka glares at Malcolm, demanding to fight these famed private soldiers. He declares he will take the soldiers' abilities for his own if they are strong. Malcolm sighs, clearly annoyed by the hero's insolence and aggressive challenge. He agrees to the demand, allowing Onizuka to choose his opponent from the men. Malcolm calls out to a hooded figure, standing silently in the background. He tells his soldier to have some fun, as requested by the arrogant hero. With a brutal impact, the brief and one-sided disciplinary battle comes to a decisive end. The assembled heroes react with stunned silence as a voice-off panel declares that it is in order. Finance Minister Malcolm's scarred soldier stands impassively, his master observing with a smug expression. Malcolm casually instructs his enforcer not to kill the defiant hero, only to teach him a lesson. Before the fight, the soldier compliments Onizuka on his fierce and determined expression. Onizuka, grinning with arrogant confidence, eagerly accepts the challenge and prepares for combat. A sudden, violent clash of force marks the swift conclusion of the confrontation. From the ground where he lies defeated, Onizuka lets out a weak, pained chuckle. Surveying the scene, Malcolm expresses that he knew the situation would inevitably come to this. Beaten and bleeding, Onizuka can only stare up from the floor in utter disbelief. The minister taunts the other heroes, suggesting they could have been managed more effectively. Malcolm smirks with satisfaction, clearly pleased with the outcome of his show of power. The witch hat hero and her friend look on, expressing their surprise at the turn of events. Ominous crows circle a desolate fortress, foreshadowing a time of conspiracy and plotting. Within the ruined walls of the fortress, a lone figure waits, anticipating the Empire's arrival. In the dark hall, a conversation unfolds about whether their enemies will actually show up. A voice from the shadows reasons that their foes will lose their advantage if they fail to appear. Yuto reveals to his companions in the forest that he has already broadcast their location. He specifies that the information was sent to both his former classmates and the manipulative Malcolm. Standing with his ally, Yuto wonders aloud who will arrive first, the hero or Malcolm. He then considers the dangerous possibility that both factions might converge on them at once. Yuto confirms that the bandit he used as a messenger has successfully delivered the information. Based on who received the message, he confidently believes that there will be a move soon. One of his companions thoughtfully asks him to identify the opponent they should be most wary of. Yuto begins his strategic assessment, naming Akane Sajo as the most influential among the girls. His ally Helia comments that their timing for this crucial discussion is perfect. She then formally asks Yuto to provide a detailed analysis of the other heroes. Helia specifies that she needs to understand their influence and combat capabilities. Yuto agrees, adding that he will also share what he knows about their unique skills. He starts his breakdown with Naoki Miyamoto, whose powerful skill is simply named Hero. The beastkin Melia recalls seeing Miyamoto, acknowledging his prominent standing among the heroes. The noblewoman Lady Melia repeats the name of the skill, Hero, with a pensive expression. Yuto concludes that while Miyamoto's skill is inherently strong, it currently lacks practical application. Helia prompts him to continue his analysis, asking about the other heroes. Next, Yuto discusses Iwao Onizuka, noting he has already absorbed his demon god skill. He points out that Onizuka's selfish and reckless actions have been causing trouble for the Empire. This leads Yuto to suggest Onizuka could be a useful tool for sowing discord among their enemies. Melia observes that with his companions, Yuto already holds considerable influence in this world. The comment causes Yuto to react with surprise, wondering why Lady Melia seems so pleased. Shifting his focus, Yuto states that there are 4 girls they must pay close attention to. He begins with Akane Sajo, mentioning her suspicious claim of merely having good eyesight. Helia listens to this with a knowing smirk, clearly sharing Yuto's skepticism. His other companion, Rin, asserts that Akane's ability is clearly not that simple. Rin explains that back in their world, Akane was always adept at reading the atmosphere. She adds that Akane's social skills worked on anyone, regardless of their status or danger. Yuto asks if Rin believes this means Akane could be useful to their cause. He speculates that a person like Saka would always prioritize her own safety first. Rin agrees, suggesting that Saka will likely act in a way that puts pressure on Malcolm. Playfully, Rin then wonders aloud if Saka's interest in Yuto is more than just strategic. A flustered Yuto quickly dismisses the notion, trying to steer the conversation back to skills. Rin explains that the healer Manas Natsuki's influence is just as significant as Miyamoto's. From a high vantage point, Yuto questions this, and his companion clarifies their old world's values. A flashback reveals Menas's immense popularity in her former high school, surrounded by classmates. Rin identifies 2 more heroes, Ino Nagisa and the skilled swordsman Kaido Saya. Yuto acknowledges their lack of social influence, but recognizes their incredible physical strength. Rin asserts her belief that they are even more powerful than Miyamoto or Onizuka. She explains that unlike others, these 2 came from special families with combat training. This reminds Yuto of walking past the Kendo club at his former school. He recalls seeing Miyamoto among the practitioners, connecting him to this martial heritage. In the present, Yuto closes his eyes, quietly processing the complexity of his former classmates. He admits aloud that his concern is no longer just about if they will appear. His horned companion senses his unease, looking at him with worried eyes. She takes his gloved hand, reassuring him that he does not need to worry. The petite Sakuya then asks Yuto about the skills of their new elven ally, Rin. Yuto consults a status screen, stating he can handle Water Blade, but not Dragon Technique. He elaborates that while the technique comes to mind, he cannot yet grasp its application. The horned Rin smiles encouragingly, certain that he will master it soon. Beside a grand throne, Sakuya announces that their preparations are finally complete. Looking out at the ruined landscape, she declares that now they must simply wait. A large imperial banner hangs before a towering castle, signaling a shift in setting. Within a long sunlit corridor, a lone figure waits patiently in the shadows. Lord Roy, the Minister of Military Affairs, lets out a weary and frustrated sigh. Chancellor Dennis appears from the darkness, calling out to Lord Roy with a friendly greeting. From the bottom of a grand staircase, Lord Roy asks what business brings the Chancellor here. Dennis cheerfully suggests that their close friendship is reason enough for a casual visit. His expression suddenly hardens, revealing the pleasantry was a mask for his true purpose. Lord Roy listens intently as the Chancellor states he has come with a specific agenda. Dennis explains that his visit concerns the matter of the stray hero, Nakatani Yuto. He reveals that the finance minister has proven incapable of tracking the hero's movements. Leaning in, Dennis adds that he has also received some slightly concerning information. He looks at Lord Roy, preparing to assign him a new clandestine task. Roy asks if the mission is to subjugate the rogue hero, but Dennis tells him no. With a cold, conspiratorial smile, Dennis reveals the true objective is purging the finance minister. Understanding the dangerous political maneuver, Lord Roy accepts his orders and prepares to leave. In another part of the palace, Dennis approaches Finance Minister Malcolm, asking how things are progressing. The nervous Malcolm stammers that everything is proceeding without any problems whatsoever. Dennis reminds him that the Emperor is watching, delivering a stark warning not to fail. Terrified by the pressure, Malcolm promises that he will, of course, succeed. Dennis gives a faint, knowing smile, his hidden intentions masked by a calm demeanor. Clasping his hands together, the Chancellor changes the subject, setting his trap. He asks Malcolm if they can discuss a slightly concerning story he has recently heard. Dennis reveals with a smile that the story is about Malcolm's own ancestral territory. He brings up the old conflict with the Beastmen, forcing a nervous agreement from Malcolm. Dennis states that while traces are few, the dangerous Beastman bloodline must still exist. He reminds Malcolm of the Empire's great struggle to develop that very land. The Chancellor recounts the extraordinary strength of the Beastmen and the bravery of Malcolm's ancestors. He coldly states that this threatening bloodline must be eradicated without fail. From a high vantage point, he explains this duty is the very reason the Salisbury family governs. He then reveals that rumors of survivors from that bloodline have recently begun to circulate. Dennis addresses the no-trapped finance minister by name, his words hanging ominously in the air. Leaving the chamber, Chancellor Dennis delivers a final, chilling instruction to Finance Minister Malcolm. With a strained expression, Malcolm nervously promises that he will absolutely fulfill his duty. The heavy door slams shut, leaving the no-vacillated Malcolm standing alone in the grand hall. Clutching his face in terror, he frantically wonders how his secrets could have been exposed. His desperation intensifies upon realizing the situation is dire enough to involve His Majesty's name. In a panic, Malcolm resolves to hunt down the rogue hero and the demon girl. An aide rushes to his side, whispering urgent, game-changing news directly into his ear. The close proximity of the aide shows the secrecy and importance of the message. Malcolm's terror instantly morphs into manic glee as he proclaims he has finally found them. He gloats to his nervous aide about the foolishness of his target's chosen hiding place. With a cruel smile, he recalls that the location was once a place of ambush. Under a cloudy sky, the stage is set for the converging factions. Elsewhere, Sakayaka's group of heroes rests, having done all they could for now. Saka covers her eye, admitting that beyond their actions, she has no idea what's next. A separate force led by the determined Lord Roy prepares for their own mission. The Midnight March cavalry unit charges forward at incredible speed through a canyon. In a flashback, a younger Malcolm is seen, his expression showing his early ambitions. A montage shows Yuto's party, confirming all groups are now converging on one location. The bait, aimed at both the heroes and Malcolm, has been successfully set. The chapter title page dramatically introduces the Midnight March as they ride through the wasteland. A close-up on Yuto's eye reveals the plan was to intentionally leak their location. Malcolm, in another memory, appears confident in his own schemes. The narrative states the Midnight March will be the first of the forces to arrive. Lord Roy's armored boot steps onto the desolate ground, marking his arrival. Under a starry sky, Roy and his forces survey the ominous landscape ahead. Roy's expression is grim and serious as he prepares for the coming conflict. From the shadows of a ruined structure, Yuto and Melia watch their arrival. Yuto, with a determined look, prepares himself for the inevitable confrontation. He and his companions are shown to have already arrived at the ancient location. Soon after, Miyamoto's party of heroes arrives at the entrance to the ruins. One of the heroes questions if Nakatani is truly in such a foreboding place. The group feels a sudden chill, commenting on the creepy atmosphere of the ruins. Cautiously, the heroes step into the dark, cavernous interior. A hero with spiky hair looks ahead in shock, spotting something in the darkness. A massive, seemingly endless army of Sumiki summons emerges from the depths of the cave. The hero with glasses is horrified to recognize her own summon skill being used against them. From the swarm, the pale girl, the true Tsumiki summoner, calmly walks toward them. She moves with purpose through the large arched hall, undeterred by the heroes. The tiny cloaked summoner stops just before the armored boots of Lord Roy. Roy looks down at the small figure, sighing in dismissal. He confidently strides past her, announcing that he has finally found his true target. From the mouth of a dark corridor, Roy confronts Yuto, spitting the word coward. Yuto and his companions stand in the shadows, facing the armored hero. Surprised by the insult, Yuto quietly questions the accusation. Roy begins his explanation, accusing Yuto of gaining his skills without any real effort. He continues his tirade, calling Yuto a deluded fool with a cowardly power. In response to the insults, Yuto simply closes his eyes with a dismissive sound. Roy smirks, taking the silence as an admission of guilt and asking if he's finished. He then boasts that he has also acquired new skills during their time apart. With newfound confidence, Roy declares he will no longer let Yuto do as he pleases. With a look of sheer disbelief, the armored hero Roy questions the unfolding chaos. From the side, a horned woman with red hair watches a figure hit the ground. Roy's face contorts in pure rage as he screams a curse at his unseen foe. Lying on the ground, a stunned Roy looks up, confused by what just happened. Filled with fury, Roy screams for his former classmate Nakatani to wait. The horned woman appears, informing Roy that Yuto is not simply getting away. An enraged Roy lunges at the woman, his sword aimed for a swift strike. With a confident smirk, the horned woman declares that he is not a worthy opponent. She continues her taunt, stating that he is not even worth Yuto's time. A powerful blast of water erupts from her, deflecting Roy's attack with ease. On a high ledge, the pale girl calls out to Yuto as they observe. With a knowing look, the girl confirms their shared understanding of the plan. Yuto affirms that he grasps the strategy they had previously discussed together. A flashback reveals the pale girl outlining their primary goal: to defeat Malcolm Salsford. The core of their plan is to expose the treasurer's corrupt use of slaves. Finally, they must bring this damning information back to the other heroes. Yuto resolves that they must avoid fighting their former comrades as much as possible. Watching the heroes arrive, Yuto wishes they had waited for Malcolm's appearance. A single intense eye watches the scene with cold, calculating focus. From the shadows, Yuto observes a large group of heroes and adventurers gathering below. An armored man with shaved sides looks down, his expression grim and determined. Yuto stands calmly before Roy, who is screaming curses in a fit of rage. The blonde hero shouts in frustration about the Dragon Tribe members blocking his path. A group of adventurers watches as Roy yells at them to get involved. One adventurer gives the order to surround the woman from the Dragon Tribe. The adventurers agree to focus on dealing with the Dragon Tribe member first. An elf-like woman from Yuto's party clenches her fist, readying herself for a fight. A massive, shadowy figure with glowing eyes suddenly appears, looming over the entire group. Roy's expression shifts from anger to one of utter shock and confusion. Above the chaos, Yuto and the pale girl watch their carefully laid plan unfold. The adventurers look around in confusion, asking each other what is happening. A female hero realizes with horror that she cannot access any of her skills. The panic spreads as she cries out that her powers are completely unusable. Roy is stunned, questioning what's happening as his gauntlet sparks and fizzles out. A great sword clatters to the stone floor, dropped by a now powerless adventurer. From a hidden spot, a voice mocks the trapped heroes, calling them a bunch of idiots. On a high platform, Malcolm reveals that this place was designed to seal heroes. Looking up in disbelief, Roy stammers Malcolm's name, unable to comprehend the betrayal. Malcolm acknowledges Yuto and the pale girl, commending them for their role in the trap. Roy is shocked as Malcolm sarcastically praises Yuto, calling him a hero and a friend. Raising a finger, Malcolm gestures for the powerless heroes to behold their prison. He explains that the glowing monuments surrounding them form a powerful barrier. The purpose of this ancient barrier, he concludes, is to seal away all of their skills. Roy finally understands why his powers failed, realizing he has been caught in a trap. Two adventurers grab each other in panic, demanding to know what is going on. Fear grips the crowd as they realize they cannot fight or protect themselves. An adventurer with a mustache angrily demands to know what Malcolm was thinking. Malcolm nonchalantly explains that the legendary hero Ray was defeated in the same manner. He confirms to the horrified crowd that Ray died, trapped within this very barrier. The heroes look at each other, stunned to hear the name of the legendary hero Ray. Yuto and the pale girl Melia contemplate the legend of the powerful hero Ray. The armored hero Roy grimly processes this revelation while looking over his forces. His expression shifts to a confident smirk, realizing the barrier makes Nakatani beatable. From his high perch, Malcolm Salsford declares his intent to kill them all. The group of heroes below react with shock as Malcolm deems them unnecessary. Roy stares up in utter disbelief, questioning what he has just heard. The pale girl with Yudo exclaims that this must surely be a joke. A close-up shows a character's eye, wide with the shock of betrayal. The pale girl looks on, her expression somber and resigned to their dire situation. Malcolm looks down from his platform with cold, absolute authority. In a flashback, a crowd in a town square discusses the heroes' arrival. A smiling Roy remembers the moment he was given command authority over the heroes. An official confirms that Roy is the right person to lead the Knight's Order. The official expresses his complete faith in Lord Roy of Military Affairs. Malcolm's prosthetic hand gestures as he orders the beastman forward without a hero's help. He asserts that he can handle any demon with just his own strength. A beastman clashes fiercely with a hero, snarling that no demon will get in their way. A blade points toward three terrified figures as a voice promises to handle any intruders. A woman with a long ponytail executes a powerful spinning attack, defeating several opponents. As a hand reaches up from below, two female fighters named Kaida-san and Ino are called out. Nagisa, a woman with a dark ponytail, is seen in profile, her name being spoken. Nagisa and another woman look out at a massive horde of beastmen, understanding the situation. The chaotic battlefield is shown from a high angle, filled with fighting heroes and beastmen. Two heroes look on in disbelief, questioning if their opponents are for real. Yudo effortlessly kicks away a beastman, commenting on their lack of skill. Yudo's horned companion wonders how their foes can fight so effectively. An adventurer questions if Yudo's companions are monsters due to their incredible fighting prowess. Malcolm observes the chaos, comparing the fighters to beasts enjoying a hunt. He holds a glowing pillar, remarking that they are, after all, beastmen. He declares that they are merely beasts that should be controlled. A hero swings a large axe in a powerful arc, engaging the beastmen. Melia calls out to Yudo for guidance in the middle of the battle. She confirms with Yuto that they should not defeat their mind-controlled opponents. Yudo agrees, stating that the beastmen are not to blame for this conflict. He explains to a surprised Melia that the beastmen are cursed by their collars. A group of feral-looking beastmen are shown, their collars clearly visible. Yudo elaborates that Malcolm is restricting their actions through the collars. He recalls Melia saying she could remove the curse to some extent. Yudo remembers her plan to wait until all beastmen are released, as the process is exhausting. Yudo looks on with a calm, considering expression. Melia then asks for his orders regarding the other heroes caught in the fight. She questions if they are also not to be harmed. Yudo admits that, if possible, he doesn't want to kill them. Melia's expression softens as she understands his reluctance. She looks down, accepting his difficult position. With a fierce grin, Melia accepts his command, ready to act. Yudo offers a small, grateful smile in return. A female hero screams as she slides in to attack Yudo from behind. An ally instantly intercepts, kicking the attacker away as Yudo looks on. Eri calls out Nakatani's name in alarm as a dark, menacing figure looms behind her. With intense focus, Yudo Nakatani's eye analyzes the chaotic battlefield. He watches a lurching beastman, his own ninja companion standing ready behind him. Looking back at his allies, Yudo confirms his theory about the strange curse. A shot of their feet reinforces his thought that only special skills are sealed. Yudo realizes that physical abilities honed by the body still function perfectly. He confidently entrusts the rear guard to the two capable ninja sisters. One of the sisters acknowledges his trust, confirming he is reliable. A wide view shows the four of them fighting with shocking effectiveness. The other heroes watch in awe, one remarking on their dangerous power. A hero notes that Yudo's small party seems to be handling it alone. A bald hero among them exclaims that their own situation is not good. He rallies his comrades, insisting they must go and provide support. The ninja sister turns, telling the approaching heroes to wait. The bald hero halts, his face a mask of confusion as he asks why. From behind, the ninja sister watches as a beastman strikes the bald hero. Melia, Yudo's horned companion, glances back with a look of deep concern. The other heroes are frozen, staring in absolute horror at the sudden violence. One of the heroes lets out a piercing scream of terror for his fallen comrade. A nearby female hero gasps, her face pale with shock and disbelief. A healer rushes to help, but her friend reminds her their skills are sealed. The friend grimly states that healing is now impossible for them. The hero's lifeless body lies on the ground, a testament to their powerlessness. In the background, some of Yudo's companions laugh mockingly at the heroes. From his high perch, Malcolm applauds theatrically, praising the excellent job. With a sadistic grin, he gleefully announces that the first hero is down. A cat-haired beastman finds the unfolding slaughter to be truly refreshing. Yudo stands silently amidst the chaos, a beastman grinning unsettlingly behind him. Malcolm's voice commands his controlled beastmen to continue their assault. He gives a specific order, ensuring they kill the women too. Melia looks at Yuto with concern, tentatively speaking his name. An extreme close-up reveals Yuto's eye, wide with simmering, cold fury. Malcolm notices Yuto's intense glare from across the battlefield. Melia looks on, worried by the sudden, dangerous shift in Yuto's demeanor. The ninja sisters stand alert, sensing the new tension in the air. The other heroes are also taken aback by Yuto's intimidating presence. Malcolm scoffs at Yuto's impudence, dismissing his silent anger. He taunts Yuto, mocking him for glaring from such a distance. Suddenly, Malcolm is startled by an unseen force, crying out in surprise. Yuto discreetly reaches a hand toward the ground near the fallen hero. He mentally activates his skill, intending to absorb power from the dead. Standing tall, Yuto glares at Malcolm, identifying him as a bastard. Enraged, Malcolm shouts at his subordinate to release his secret weapon. He dismisses any concerns, stating that even if they are uncontrollable, the magic tools controlling the field will handle the situation. The intensified light from the pillars causes the beastman to cry out in agony. A hooded subordinate acknowledges the command with a grim look. Malcolm impatiently orders his men to hurry up and bring them out. He sneers at Yuto's group, knowing they are about to face his trump card. A large, dark, coffin-like container is wheeled forward by a hooded figure. From the pitch-black darkness inside the container, a pair of glowing eyes opens. With a single step, a voice confidently declares that the heroes stand no chance. From a high perch, Malcolm unleashes his secret weapons, ordering the twin beast women to annihilate their foes. One of the twins flashes a terrifyingly wide grin, filled with sharp, predatory teeth. A massive blade slices through the air, aimed at the rocky ground below. With immense force, the weapon slams into the earth, kicking up dirt and debris. Nina appears inches from Yuto's face, inviting him to play a deadly game. Simultaneously, the second twin lunges at Melia from behind, her attack a blur of motion. Melia turns with a look of alarm, realizing she and Yuto are the targets of a coordinated attack. Her expression is one of pure shock as the devastating assault unfolds around her. The twins' simultaneous strikes create a massive explosion, tearing up the battlefield. Amidst the dust, one twin calmly tells her sister not to overdo it. A close-up reveals one twin's sadistic, triumphant smile after their powerful initial assault. Emerging from the smoke, Yuto confirms that he and Melia have survived the attack. A single, elegant, high-heeled boot steps forward, signaling the start of the next phase. From a low angle, a young girl with light hair looks up with an air of expectation. A figure in a black coat stands before a massive, glowing crystal structure amidst the battle. The figure reaches out, a gloved hand gently touching the surface of the glowing crystal. Instantly, a surge of magical energy flows from the crystal into the figure's hand. A companion calls out Yuto's name as he prepares himself for the next move. Melia asks Yuto to buy her some time, and he reluctantly agrees to the request. Yuto dashes forward alone, moving to engage the twin beast women in direct combat. One of the twins expresses her boredom with their opponent's evasiveness. The twins acknowledge Yuto's strength, seemingly excited by the challenge he presents. The beast women circle Yuto and Melia, their shape-shifting capes forming massive weapons. Melia shouts Yuto's name in concern as the battle intensifies around them. Yuto unleashes an ice crystal spell, sending a massive shard toward his attackers. The twins are shocked, questioning how Yuto can use skills within the magic ceiling barrier. One twin asks Yuto to explain what just happened as ice shards rain down. Yuto calmly raises a hand, assuring them that he can manage the situation. He realizes he can overpower the barrier by pouring in more magic than anticipated. He skillfully parries a powerful blow from one of the beast women's massive blades. The beast woman lets out a gleeful laugh, clearly amused by the escalating fight. Yuto tells his companion that he will cover the rear during the engagement. The twins coordinate another sweeping attack, their movements leaving blurs across the battlefield. One of the twins gets close, telling Yuto he looks far more appetizing than his companion. She leans in to sniff him, commenting on his pleasant and intriguing scent. Her eye narrows with predatory intent as she declares she'll help herself to him. Yuto casts a whirlwind spell, creating a vortex to push the relentless twins back. Having closed the distance again, one twin licks his cheek, exclaiming, "He tastes great." Both twins are visibly excited, agreeing his unique flavor is something they could get hooked on. Yuto flatly rejects the compliment, clearly annoyed by their strange behavior. He finds himself caught in a fire spell, expressing his displeasure with the situation. The hero Kuki panics, admitting he accidentally attacked his own allies with the fire. A shadowy figure emerges from the smoke, letting out a faint, unsettling laugh. One of the beast women sneezes from the dust and smoke kicked up by the explosion. After the blast, the twins appear disheveled and slightly weary from the intense fight. Yuto brushes himself off, complaining about the dust that now fills the air. The other heroes look on from a distance, completely confused by the chaotic scene. The battle becomes a blur of motion, too fast for the onlookers to follow. One of the heroes realizes, with dawning horror, that he may have underestimated Nakatani's true power. A hero observes his opponent's incredible resilience, wondering how he can still fight. Mizuki Hino and her companions question if their entire purpose was to defeat him. Cornered by two beast women, Yuto doubts his ability to overcome them alone. Amidst the chaos, a reassuring voice tells Yuto that everything will be fine. Sylphia calmly gathers energy, preparing to cast a powerful seal reversal spell. The spell's parameters shift, changing its target from technique to beast. Declaring a restart, Sylphia's magic causes massive pillars to erupt, altering the battlefield. A nearby hero looks on in utter confusion, asking what is happening. The beast women are equally stunned, wondering what this strange phenomenon is. Yuto stands between the two beast women, all of them caught off guard. Kuki feels his strength returning, while his opponents suddenly seem much weaker. Looking at the carnage, a hero sees a new opportunity in the chaos. With his power restored, Kuki believes they finally have a fighting chance. His thoughts turn to the possibility of being able to kill their enemies now. A nearby hero lets out a terrified shriek as the situation changes dramatically. Mizuki Hino quickly restrains her armored comrade, telling him to wait. She questions the need to continue the fight at this exact moment. Her companion insists that they must see their mission through to the end. Kuki furiously grabs a beast woman, demanding to know why they hesitate. He prepares to execute her, believing this is the right and opportune moment. Yuto's party turns its back on the conflict, beginning to walk away. Kuki watches them depart, his expression filled with simmering resentment. He grits his teeth, muttering Nakatani's name with absolute contempt. Confronting Yuto's back, he demands to know why Yuto always acts selfishly. A flashback reveals Yuto walking alone down a dark and isolated cave path. Another memory shows him standing apart from the main group of heroes. The resentment traces back to their school days, with Yuto walking ahead. A past scene shows him separated from his classmates by a dead bird. Kuki recalls another time when Yuto was always the center of attention. His rage boils over as he accuses Yuto of always acting on his own. Mizuki calmly tells Kuki that his frustration stems from things not going his way. Kuki is stunned into silence by her direct and accurate assessment. With the immediate conflict diffused, Mizuki prepares to negotiate with Yuto's group. She asks Yuto how he intends to resolve the current tense standoff. Yuto proposes a deal. If they handle Malcolm, his party will withdraw. Malcolm, hearing this, explodes in rage, screaming not to be messed with. He demands to know what the heroes think they are doing by betraying him. A figure in a white suit appears suddenly and incapacitates the furious minister. The other heroes watch in shock as their supposed ally is taken down. Yuto calmly addresses the newcomer, acknowledging the rapidly changing situation. The man in white announces he will impose a strict punishment on Malcolm. He notes that Yuto's intended target was present all along, as planned. Yuto and his companion listen silently, processing this new development. The newcomer reveals he was also pursuing Malcolm for his unforgivable crimes. Yuto suggests he would be more useful than the heroes in this matter. The man in white laughs, calling Yuto humble, but admitting his lack of forces. He gestures to the battlefield, conceding he cannot face Yuto's group alone. His young female companion steps forward, stating there is a condition. A beast person below overhears the condition. They must take the beastman. The man in white is flustered, realizing he must agree to their terms. A woman with horns warns that the Empire may not be able to overlook their actions. The hero Roy, his face etched with pain, accepts that he has no other choice. Another hero observes that the skill ceiling barrier has now lost all meaning. A dark, jagged silhouette stands out against a stark, bright background. From the shadows, a vast army of small cloaked Tsumiki summons emerges. Ryan urgently calls out to Nakatani, trying to prevent him from leaving. Across the desolate ground, Roy angrily questions how long Nakatani will act so selfishly. Roy's face is a mask of pure, unadulterated rage and frustration. Nakatani and Ryan stand together calmly, facing the impending confrontation. From his perspective, Roy sees Nakatani's party ready to face his monstrous forces. In the aftermath, a defeated Roy is left standing alone in the barren landscape. A close-up reveals the bloody gash on his face, a clear mark of his failure. A pair of intense eyes stare forward as a voice asks if someone is now awake. In a grand throne room, the bound and disgraced Malcolm Salsford is presented. A voice from the throne prepares to interrogate the terrified Malcolm, demanding details. A new chapter of rebellion begins, promising a turn in the ongoing conflict. A bearded advisor gravely states that the situation has become too serious to ignore. He explains that Yuto was once just a rogue with the Demon King's descendant, but the story has changed now that the Beastmen have joined Yuto's cause. Minister Roy offers an apology, but Dennis reassures him that he did a great job. Dennis admits that he, too, did not have a good outlook on the situation. Turning his cold gaze to Salisford, Dennis expresses his disbelief at the man's stupidity. The disgraced minister's face contorts in pure terror, sweat beading on his skin. A montage shows the descendants of the Beastkin, now allied with the rogue hero. He has also gained the loyalty of the survivors from the Dragon Tribe. His party is led by the powerful daughter of the former Demon Lord. The advisor concludes that Yuto has now become the strongest of all the heroes. Dennis notes that if they wanted to deal with all these factions at once, he tells Roy that it was a wise decision for him to return and report. Descending a grand staircase, Dennis declares that their focus must now shift. He informs Roy that they must appoint a new Minister of Finance. Roy listens, recalling that Salisford was meant to be handled by one of the heroes. Salisford overhears this, his face a picture of dawning horror and disbelief. On his knees, he desperately pleads with Dennis to wait and reconsider his fate. Dennis turns, asking if Salisford still fails to understand his dire situation. He ominously states that all that remains is the matter of his family's well-being. Dennis begins a cold lecture, explaining that nobles are granted special privileges. However, he continues, these privileges come with immense responsibility. As guards seize Salisford, Dennis explains that this responsibility is incredibly heavy. Salisford struggles, still begging Dennis for mercy as Roy watches him passively. Dennis turns away, his face a mask of disgust, unable to bear the sight of him. He states that until the very end, Salisford was never fit to be a noble. A knight in full plate armor bursts into the hall, shouting for attention. Dennis's eye twitches in clear annoyance at the sudden and loud interruption. He demands to know what is going on, questioning the intrusion into the throne room. Minister Vale, the knight, stammers an apology for his unannounced entrance. From the throne, the king calmly tells Dennis to listen to the knight's report. The king formally greets Minister Vale, acknowledging his return to the court. Vale bypasses formalities, stating he has something more important to discuss. He urgently announces that he has a report concerning the heroes. In the imperial throne room, a panicked messenger bursts in with a shocking report. The king's weary face shows the weight of the news about hero Onizuka's betrayal. The court reacts in stunned silence as the messenger adds that he fled with others. Having just returned, the king grimly confirms he has witnessed the disaster firsthand. Turning from the scene, the king decisively addresses the young minister Roy by name. He places his full trust in Roy, stating that he is counting on him to act. Roy accepts the heavy burden with a resolute, "Yes, sir," and quickly departs. A close-up reveals the horrified eye of a hero witnessing the gruesome aftermath. The view pans down a dark, ominous corridor, the site of the recent tragedy. A young healer named Lynn cries out, questioning why her healing magic is failing. Surrounded by her comrades, she desperately tries to cast the spell again and again. The other heroes, including a girl in a witch's hat, can only stare in disbelief. Her hands tremble as the last motes of her failed magic fade into nothingness. Kneeling before the bodies of her fallen friends, she whispers a name in despair. A male hero covers his mouth, asking in horror what they are supposed to do. A girl with a ponytail sobs, lamenting that they had all been friends. Another hero clenches his fist, enraged by his powerlessness to have prevented this. Minister Roy arrives at the scene, his entrance marked by shock at the carnage. His face is a mask of disbelief as he struggles to comprehend the bloody sight. The hero Miyamoto, his expression dark and shadowed, acknowledges the minister's presence. Roy approaches, asking Miyamoto to explain the situation as they stand over the dead. Miyamoto's face contorts with anguish as he screams out in rage and grief. He blames the rogue heroes Nakatani and Onizuka for destroying everything with their selfishness. Beside a stoic, dark-haired Nakatani, the hero Kirishima sighs with weary resignation. Nakatani steps forward, calmly offering to explain the events to the bewildered minister. Surprised by the offer, Roy asks if he is truly willing to recount what happened. With a slight grim nod, Nakatani confirms he will provide the necessary testimony. A flashback begins, showing hero Tachibana furiously demanding Onizuka repeat his selfish words. She declares that she will call him out on his behavior as many times as it takes. Continuing her tirade, she scolds him for his arrogant and disruptive actions. She passionately reminds him that they were all thrown into this world together. Onizuka, enraged by her lecture, snarls at her to shut up and grow up. He screams that they are all annoying and dismisses her as an arrogant small fry. In a shocking burst of violence, he throws a powerful punch directly at her face. The impact is catastrophic, causing her head to explode in a brutal spray of gore. One of her dislodged eyeballs flies through the air towards the other horrified heroes. It strikes another hero in the head, who collapses to the ground, instantly killed. The eyeball, trailing blood, bounces sickeningly off the stone floor. The room erupts in screams of pure terror at the sudden, gruesome massacre. Onizuka looks down at the carnage, his expression momentarily one of stunned disbelief. He looks up, his eyes wide as he questions what the hell just happened. Another hero, Satu, confronts him, insisting that this cannot be dismissed as a joke. A different hero asks what is wrong with him as Onizuka's shock twists into madness. With a crazed grin, Onizuka clenches his gauntleted fists, crackling with dark energy. He unleashes an explosive attack, killing Satu in a blinding flash of power. His face is a mask of pure ecstasy as he breaks into wild, uncontrollable laughter. He proclaims how incredible the feeling of power is as the survivors flee from him. The flashback shows him cornering the terrified healer Lin, who whispers his name. He circles her, commenting on the convenience of her unique healing skill. Leaning in with a chilling smile, he demands she give him her power for his own use. In a chaotic moment, two female heroes, Kirishima and Shimizu, are forced to physically restrain their friend. The narrator reflects grimly on this event, stating that this is how it all ended. He explains that after the confrontation, the killer, Onizuka, fled with two other heroes. Miyamoto expresses his disgust, calling his former comrades selfish for their destructive actions. Arriving at the gruesome scene, Minister Roy lets out a cry of dismay. The other hero named Nakatani steps forward, offering to explain the tragic events to the minister. Far from the Empire, the ruined castle of the demon capital, Argonam, sits ominously under a cloudy sky. Nakatani Yuto surveys the desolate landscape, murmuring a thoughtful well to himself. Upon entering the ruined city square, Yuto acknowledges its state, seeing the challenge ahead. His companion, the demon lord's daughter, remarks on the large family of beastmen he has gathered. A crowd of hopeful refugees confirms her observation, their expressions a mix of weariness and hope. A young beastkin girl looks up at Yuto, asking if they will all find a home here. Milia declares that she will not allow Yuto to sacrifice his people as he did before. Her words leave Yuto standing among his followers, contemplating her meaning. He turns to her, asking her to clarify what she meant by her statement. With a confident smile, Milia points forward, announcing her bold plan to create a new nation. Yuto is visibly shocked by the sheer scale of her idea to found a new country. The Beastman leader and his followers watch the exchange from a distance, observing the new development. A new chapter begins, promising a new path forward from the ashes of the old city. Yuto accepts the challenge, his expression hardening as he vows to make this new nation a reality. Rimmel, the demon princess, is taken aback, questioning if he is truly serious about this plan. Melia, however, hums thoughtfully, considering the potential of Yuto's declaration. Looking over the ruins, Rimmel acknowledges that building a nation will take a very long time. Valiford, the Beastman leader, asserts that despite the difficulty, now is the perfect time to begin. Yuto coolly analyzes the political situation, noting the Empire has lost a key minister. A close-up of a dead eye signifies the loss of a hero, further weakening the Empire. With a hand to his chin, Yuto understands this turmoil gives them a window of opportunity. Melia agrees, recognizing the Empire will be consumed by chaos for some time. Rimmel asks if their new nation will be built upon the original demon territory. Yuto clarifies that his first goal is to establish a city specifically for the demons. Rimmel is deeply moved, repeating his words, demon, city, as if in a dream. In the streets of the ruined capital, a diverse crowd of demons begins to congregate. A demon child happily rides on the shoulders of another, a small sign of a budding community. Yuto smiles faintly at the scene, with a blushing Rimmel looking on beside him. Despite his resolve, he admits to Melia that he is unsure of the practical first steps. Melia looks at him seriously, acknowledging his question with a simple, knowing, She begins to explain what Yuto must do, but a question mark signals an interruption. One of the Beastwomen twins playfully tackles Yuto, declaring that he is delicious. Rimmel cries out Yuto's name in alarm as a cloud of dust erupts from the impact. Lying on the ground, Yuto groans in pain from the unexpected and forceful pounce. The twins Nina and Nona cheerfully greet him, and he recognizes them by name. As he tries to get up, they begin complaining about being hungry. Melia observes that only Yuto seems capable of handling the energetic and attached twins. A close-up shows Yuto's resigned expression, accepting his role as their caretaker. The Beastman leader Valiford and his followers approach Yuto's group with a serious purpose. Valiford gets Yuto's attention with a direct and challenging, "Hey, you." He acknowledges Yuto's plan to build a country, calling it a very big deal. Yuto responds casually, knowing there is more to the Beastman's challenge. Valaford questions Yudo's authority, reminding him that Rimmel's father was also a ruler. Yudo counters with a sly smile, stating that he has an intuition about the matter. Yudo suggests the cat-eared twins, Nina and Nona, are of a special lineage. When questioned, Yudo cryptically replies that it was merely his intuition. The Beastman leader, Valaford, begins to explain the history of his people. Yudo listens with a slight scoff, intrigued by the Beastman story. Valaford confirms that Yudo's intuition about their heritage is indeed correct. He clarifies that his people are not the same as the demons or dragons. In the midst of their makeshift camp, he describes them as a small, separate group. He recalls how he has lived among them, watching over his people. Valaford reveals they were a special group, different from ordinary Beastman relatives. He explains that he and they possess an overwhelming amount of power. Among them, he notes, the women held a particularly special existence. He looks on as the twins yawn, lamenting they were supposed to be special. Valaford watches their childish behavior, questioning if that special status still remains. His thoughts turn to their predecessor, who he remembers as a very good person. A memory of her powerful yet sensitive nature flashes through his mind. Valaford recalls how he willingly followed such a great and respected leader. His voice trails off, his expression filled with a mix of reverence and sorrow. He had intended to follow Nina and Nona just as loyally. Valaford concludes that creating a country doesn't mean much to the Beastman. He looks down, appearing resigned to the current state of his people. Yudo listens intently, taking in the weight of Valaford's story. Melia interjects, stating that with Yudo in charge, there is no need to worry. Her sharp gaze shows her complete confidence in Yudo's leadership. Yudo accepts her faith in him with a small, knowing smile. In the throne room, Minister Roy delivers his final report to the king. The king dismisses the minister, who bows deeply before his sovereign. With a weary expression, the king notes the number of problems has increased. He laments his decision regarding the management of the summoned heroes. Minister Roy steps forward, assuring the king he will handle things now. The king states that the situation with Hiro Nakatani must be resolved quickly. He names the new threats, the rogue heroes Onizuka, Suzuhara, and Wajima. The king acknowledges the difficulty of finding them in the vast wilderness. He groans in pain and Roy urges him to rest assured. Roy confidently announces that the military has already tracked the fugitives down. The king commends Minister Roy for his good work and swift action. He issues a grave order to capture Onizuka and his followers. The king commands Roy to take the powerful Commander Sieg on the mission. Roy is surprised, questioning the need to deploy the elite Emperor's guards. The advisor Valet grimly asks who else could possibly stop Hiro Onizuka. Roy stands silently, processing the gravity of the unfolding crisis. Valet reminds him that even Sieg considered the three heroes difficult opponents. Roy then requests that the other heroes join his subjugation team. The king taps his throne, thoughtfully considering the minister's proposal. He agrees, deciding to entrust the Black Wolf army to Minister Roy. The king believes consolidating their forces under Roy is a good idea. His attention then turns to his other advisor, Valet, with a new task. He assigns Valet the delicate mission of negotiating with Nakatani Yudo. Valet expresses his shock, questioning if they can even win against Yudo. The king lists Yuto's formidable allies, including the Demon King's daughter. He concludes by stating Yuto now controls the powerful Beastman as well. In the throne room, the king and his advisor Valet stand together, concluding they must negotiate a ceasefire. Valet, looking deeply weary, holds his head and reluctantly agrees that this is the correct course of action. The two leaders are observed by Minister Roy, who stands silently in the shadowed archway behind them. From a high balcony, the king looks down upon the heroes, lamenting that the entire summoning project was a mistake. He expresses his disappointment that the heroes have failed to meet the expectations of the people. The king declares that the summoned individuals have only created more problems, throwing the world into a tilted equilibrium. Minister Roy turns his attention to a weary hero, Naokidono, and asks what he desires. The hero, slumped over a table in despair, confesses he can no longer continue and is utterly burnt out. Minister Roy formally thanks the gathered heroes for answering his summons to the Grand Hall. With a subtle, knowing smile, he adjusts his glasses, preparing to offer them a new proposition. Elsewhere, the Emperor stands before a window, informing Hiro Naoki Miyamoto of an upcoming imperial parade. He commands that Miyamoto and his entire party are required to join the procession. Miyamoto, looking stressed, repeats the word parade with a sense of dread and disbelief. An ornate decorative pattern on the wall of the grand room highlights the lavish setting of the tense meeting. The heroes in Miyamoto's party, including Akane, murmur their displeasure, stating they are not in the mood. A moment of dark, heavy silence hangs in the air, filled with unspoken tension. Miyamoto, overwhelmed by the pressure, pleads with the emperor to let him go home soon. Silhouetted against a tall window, the emperor stands before the group of exhausted heroes. A young woman with long hair tied back listens intently as the emperor begins his manipulative speech. The emperor acknowledges their hardship but explains the difficult political reality they are now facing. A hero in a flowing white robe asks for clarification on his cryptic warning. He states that the actions of the original rogue hero, Nakatani Yuto, can at least be predicted. However, he warns that the three newly stray heroes, led by Onizuka, are completely unpredictable. The emperor explains that to the common people, there is currently little difference between the two hero factions. A hero's eye widens as she begins to understand the grave implications of the emperor's words. The ruler asks rhetorically if they wish to be publicly recognized as the sole heroes of the empire. He warns that if the stray heroes cause trouble first, the reputations of all heroes will suffer. Miyamoto curses under his breath, understanding he has been trapped by the emperor's unassailable logic. The emperor agrees with Miyamoto's frustration, placing the blame squarely on the selfishness of the other heroes. He places a hand on Miyamoto's shoulder, telling him that he has the power to change the situation. Miyamoto looks startled as the emperor singles him out as the key to their public image. The opulent carved details of the room contrast with the heavy weight of responsibility being placed upon them. The emperor praises Miyamoto's current strength, assuring him that he will no longer be ashamed. From behind, the emperor gestures toward Miyamoto, preparing to officially name him their leader. He formally anoints the young man as Hiro Naoki Miyamoto, the official head of the group. The ruler smiles faintly, calling the large number of summoned heroes a happy miscalculation for the people. He acknowledges that the situation will still cause confusion among the populace. The emperor declares that a bright, shining existence like Miyamoto is needed to quell this confusion. Minister Roy, observing from the side, smiles faintly at the successful manipulation. The heavy burden of this new role is visible on the faces of Miyamoto and his companions. A long-haired female hero lets out a weary sigh, accepting their difficult new reality. Akan, the hero with the witch hat, and her friend Minachi observe the proceedings silently. Akan begins to process the new orders and what they will mean for everyone going forward. Later, an imperial official briefs a small group of the female heroes in a separate chamber. The long-haired hero asks what is happening with the stray heroes who are in question. The official, looking confident and composed, begins to explain the Empire's two-pronged strategy. He reveals that the formidable Minister Roy will be tasked with handling Onizuka and his followers. Minachi then asks about the other rogue hero, Nakatani, her expression filled with concern. The official reports that the elderly Minister Valet is already en route to begin negotiations. Hearing this, a worried Akane instinctively grabs her friend's sleeve, her face a mask of anxiety. With a look of concern, Minachi softly speaks her former classmate's name, Nakatani-kun. Akan, her face hidden by her hat, quietly wonders if their friends will ever return. Suddenly, Akane calls out to get Minachi's attention, her eyes wide with an idea. Leaning in closely, she whispers a proposal, asking if Minachi wants to go find Nakatani. Minachi is left completely stunned by the unexpected suggestion, her mouth agape in surprise. The scene shifts to a wide, establishing shot of a desolate and ruined city. For now, Yuto and his companions are just small figures in this vast, bleak landscape. Yuto observes the reconstruction efforts, pleased to see the beastmen and demons working together. He stands as the protector for the displaced, including two small, ragged children huddled nearby. With a determined look, Yuto admits to himself that this path is unexpected. His primary goal is to create a peaceful sanctuary for all the refugees in the city. Yuto considers that knowledge from his original world might be useful in their current situation. Standing in the ruins, his companion Sylphid asks about the kind of life he once lived. Yuto thoughtfully ponders the question, trying to find the right words to describe his past. He begins his explanation by stating that magical tools were far more prevalent where he's from. His small companion Tito asks for clarification on what magical tools are. Yuto explains their plan to use magic and skills so anyone can accomplish great tasks. Sylphid gives an example, mentioning tools that can be used to carry heavy wooden logs. She muses that with such technology, even a child could perform the difficult labor. A small beastman girl, Tito, is shocked as a magical tool helps her lift a huge log. Looking on with amazement, Tito exclaims that the power of the tool is incredible. Yuto's group realizes that if such tools are common, individual strength becomes less important. He thinks back on his world, acknowledging the incredible jobs they all accomplished. Yuto recalls that they had many tools they could have used against their enemies. The young Tito wonders aloud if the Empire's hero also creates such useful tools. With a knowing and serious expression, Yuto firmly states that he does not. His companion Sakuya agrees, adding that it is highly unlikely. A flashback shows the hero Miyamoto expressing his selfish desire to remain special. Sakuya adds that even if Miyamoto tried, it would take him a very long time. With a thoughtful expression, Yuto raises a finger, having been struck by a new idea. He suggests they could create tools specifically designed for the tasks of daily life. He gives an example, explaining that laundry currently requires both hands and magic. A girl washing clothes is amazed, asking if the process could really be automated. Yuto considers the convenience of a magical washing machine and other home appliances. One of the Beastman twins excitedly calls out to her, "Oni-chan, Yuto." She points forward, alerting him that someone has arrived in their settlement. Yuto's expression darkens with annoyance at being interrupted during his planning. The twin playfully asks him not to give her such a scary look, as it shortens her life. She then turns her attention to the newcomer, demanding to know who he is. An elderly, bearded man with a stern expression looks down at the group. The man introduces himself as Valet Samateo, a minister from the Holy Empire Valencia. Yuto looks over at the diverse group of beastmen he is now responsible for protecting. Valet addresses Yuto formally, referring to him by the title Hiro Nakatani Dono. Yuto's companions look on warily as the minister states he has come to negotiate. The minister speaks, his face set in a serious, determined line as he begins his proposal. Yuto, standing with his allies, asks what the Empire's conditions for negotiation are. The chapter title page reveals the two factions facing each other in the ruins. Yuto calmly tells his companions not to worry about the minister's sudden arrival. Valet, flanked by his guards, assures them that he has no hostile intentions. The twin beastmen use their keen sense of smell, confirming the minister is not lying. In the desolate ruins of a city, Yuto's Katerid companion reassures him that he is not being lied to. Yuto closes his eyes, taking a moment to process this information and prepare himself. The elderly Pope, stroking his long white beard, agrees to hear what Yuto has to say. From behind a rustic wooden door, a voice announces that the negotiation will now begin. The Pope addresses the group, stating he will first share some important information. He reveals the startling news that Hiro Onizuka has now become a rogue agent. Yuto reacts with genuine shock, as the Pope notes he was clearly unaware of this development. Seated before his armored guards, the Pope offers to explain the complex situation in detail. The Pope raises a single finger, signaling the start of his explanation. While the tense meeting proceeds, one of Yuto's beastkin companions has fallen soundly asleep. Yuto and the pale-haired girl Melia look on with tense, worried expressions. Setting down his teacup with a soft clink, the Pope signals a shift in the conversation. His elf companion Maria asks if the Empire knows where Onizuka's group is headed. The Pope confirms that Sir Roy, a prominent imperial talent, is already in pursuit. Maria expresses her deep mistrust, stating she doesn't like the Pope's ominous tone. Yuto quietly affirms Maria's suspicion, agreeing that something feels wrong about the situation. He tries to articulate his unease, feeling the Pope's words imply a hidden meaning. Melia bluntly states the grim implication: even if found, Onizuka cannot be defeated. Holding his cup, the Pope asks Melia to confirm if her assessment is correct. The Pope looks up with a solemn expression, confirming that her grim analysis is true. He then reveals his true purpose for seeking this meeting with Yuto's group. Maria realizes with alarm that they want to make Yuto fight the rogue hero. She urgently warns Yuto, shouting that this is clearly a trap set by the Empire. Yuto, unfazed, coolly asks what he would get in return for his cooperation. An armored associate presents a scroll, confirming that there are rewards for his help. The Pope lays out the first condition of their deal: an immediate ceasefire. He admits the Empire cannot attack anyway, while Onizuka remains a significant threat. Melia asks what Yuto will receive in exchange for this temporary truce. The Pope's hooded companion promises to keep their meeting a secret from the Empire. He assures them that what was seen today will not be shared with anyone. Yuto acknowledges that this promise of secrecy alone is valuable to their cause. He reflects on the strange irony of an imperial minister aiding a new nation. Maria, ever cautious, points out that they have no real guarantee of anything. The Pope dismisses her concern, stating this is just the beginning of his offer. Looking out at the settlement, he notes the clear shortage of materials for the people. He tells Yuto that the first task is to arrange for these needed supplies. He then offers unlimited funds, stating money is no object for Yuto's goals. Yuto is stunned by the sheer scale of the financial support being offered. The Pope stresses that this negotiation is of the utmost importance to him. Melia notes that if this fails, the Empire itself could be ended. The Pope's eye narrows, acknowledging her cynical yet accurate observation. Sipping her tea, Melia questions if the Pope is truly serious about this. Her eyes are sharp and challenging as she presses the imperial minister. She dares him to take her head and attack the Empire now, if he's sincere. The Pope reminds them of the carnage, showing 7 heroes lost to Onizuka's rampage. He states that Yuto, of all people, should understand the danger this poses. Maria, looking worried, turns to Yuto and asks him what he thinks. Yuto admits he has never truly experienced a life-or-death battle before. Melia listens intently, her gaze focused and serious as Yuto contemplates. He concludes that he does not think he can show his true power right now. The Pope explains the Empire's military is scattered, leaving its heroes overwhelmed. Yuto absorbs this crucial information with a serious, guarded expression on his face. Sipping his tea, the Pope confidently states that Yuto will not attack them. An intense close-up on a character's eye hints at the reasoning behind this prediction. Melia offers her insight, suggesting other priorities now take precedence over their revenge. Through a window, she gazes down upon the settlement of refugees below. A crowd of weary demi-humans looks on with worried yet hopeful expressions. Seeing the people he must protect, Yuto quietly expresses his understanding and agreement. The Pope dismisses the need for a paper contract, deeming the document unnecessary. Melia's sharp gaze reveals her understanding that the Pope is referring directly to her. A close-up on the Pope's eye shows his deep, knowing perception of the situation. Yuto questions Melia, who confirms the Pope is aware of her Demon Lord bloodline. With a casual air, the Pope agrees, holding up the no-useless, formal document. He reveals he intuited her noble heritage simply from the act of sharing tea. In a burst of feathers, the Pope's elderly form dissolves, admitting he is outmatched. Yuto and his fox-eared companion can only stare in utter shock at the transformation. The other Beastkin followers, including the Cat-Girl twins, watch with wide-eyed amazement. The Pope's companion, now a revealed elf, tips his hat with a knowing hum. Stunned, Yuto utters the word elf as Melia watches the unfolding scene. The elf Pope calmly sips his tea, remarking that some of his kind survived. He explains that elves are a long-lived species that can endure for centuries. Yuto's companions express their disbelief, struggling to grasp the incredible revelation. The elf Pope confirms that a mythical race has indeed survived into the present day. Yuto's elf companion notes the shocking reality of an elf serving as a top minister. The elf Pope nonchalantly states that after 100 years, no one cared to notice. Holding his own cup, Yuto asks how he could possibly have mimicked his old form. The elf snaps his fingers, lamenting that his true form would have been more efficient. He chides Yuto, calling his previous destructive methods messy and not very artistic. Yuto, holding a plant, questions what his companion could possibly mean by art. The elf Pope gestures, preparing to begin their negotiations again on new terms. With a flourish of magic, he formally proposes a new contract to his heroic friends. The grand, imposing castle of the Empire stands against a cloudy sky. Within the capital, armored guards stand watch as a massive crowd gathers. The spoked wheel of a large parade float rolls through the city streets. The crowd watches the procession, their faces filled with smiles and excitement. From behind, a large crowd is seen gathered before a decorated parade float. Hiro Miyamoto stands glumly beside a banner, clearly unhappy with the spectacle. His face shadowed, he makes a sound of pure disgust and frustration. Two of his comrades nearby discuss Miyamoto's foul mood, questioning its cause. One of the heroes begins to explain that a number of girls have disappeared. He reveals that these girls were originally supposed to be part of Miyamoto's harem. Miyamoto's expression darkens with anger as he overhears their gossip. Far away, the two girls who left walk forward with determined expressions. Their journey leads them toward a large, dark, and formidable-looking fortress. Yuto stands watch as the two girls approach the gate of his new settlement. One of the girls shyly tugs on his coat, calling him Yuto Nichan. Yuto stands before his diverse community of refugees, welcoming the newcomers. The two girls peek out from behind Yuto's cloak with wide, curious eyes. He turns his head slightly, a faint, knowing smile gracing his features. Yuto stands with his allies, looking out over his growing community of followers. In the heart of a ruined city, Yuto stands with his companions, Melia and Maria. Nearby, a young beastkin girl with a wolf's tail looks on with nervous uncertainty. Surveying the scene from above, Yuto expresses his surprise at their current situation. Within the desolate square, Maria comments that their number of allies has grown. The three companions contemplate the immense weight of their newfound responsibilities. Maria's earlier words about their growing alliances echo in the quiet air. A promise of crucial material and financial support from a hidden source is remembered. This powerful ally, an elf, is secretly hostile to the human supremacist Valencia Empire. Yuto realizes that this new partnership means they have far more to accomplish now. A brief memory of his old classmates flashes through his mind, a world away. Maria reminds him that they must still confront the looming threat of Onizuka's faction. Looking out over the vast settlement, Yuto and his party await what comes next. As the new group approaches, Yuto questions what is happening now. A hooded figure beside him points out the approaching people, drawing his attention. On horseback, 3 figures arrive, and Yuto questions if the leader is Sashiro. With a look of utter shock, he demands to know why they are here. His former classmate Yano stares back with a stern and unreadable expression. Sashiro Akane offers a casual greeting to Nakatani as she and her group draw near. Having dismounted, Sashiro confidently announces that she has now arrived. Nakatani identifies Sashiro and Yano, then sees Manase, who calls out his name. Minas Shizuku looks at him, her expression filled with emotion as she clutches her cloak. A flustered Nakatani acknowledges that it has indeed been a long time since they met. Minase nervously agrees, stammering that it's been a while since they last saw each other. Looking down shyly, she expresses how happy she is to be able to speak with him again. The warrior Yano cuts in, bluntly asking why Nakatani's group is in this place. Her expression is one of annoyance and impatience with the tense reunion. Suddenly, the small demon girl, Mashan, leaps onto Nakatani's back, hugging him. Mashan glares protectively over his shoulder, her eyes fixed on the newcomers. Sashiro calls for a timeout, playfully stating they are only there for a little game. A sly, knowing smile crosses her face as she assesses the situation. Nakatani realizes he's trapped, thinking that he won't be able to get through them. He silently wonders about the true reason for the trio's unexpected visit. As if reading his mind, Sashiro tells him not to worry about any trouble. She cheekily explains that she is officially on sick leave from her duties. Nakatani repeats her excuse aloud, a bead of sweat forming on his face. His eyes widen in shock as he realizes she just read his thoughts. Sashiro simply confirms his unspoken question with a knowing, She smiles, stating that she now understands Nakatani a little better. Sashiro then promises to reveal a crucial piece of information about Mashan. She declares that she will share this important secret with him today. The group moves inside a rustic wooden building to continue their discussion. Mashan remains protectively wrapped around Nakatani's back, not letting go. Inside, Sashiro prepares to state her group's first condition for being there. She clasps her hands, beginning to lay out their primary requirement. Minas interrupts, finally finding the courage to thank Nakatani for saving her life. She confesses that at the time, her mind was consumed by the terrible things done to her. Minas admits she was wrong, acknowledging that she could have died back then. Nakatani listens, understanding that she has finally processed the gravity of that moment. Yano then asks if his arms are okay, to which he confirms they are all good. With a slight smile, Yano expresses her sincere gratitude for his help. In a desolate landscape, Nakatani Kuda is stunned to see 3 former classmates approaching. His expression is intense as he mutters in disbelief about their unexpected arrival. Sashiro casually states she has a job for him, while Yano questions their very presence. An emotional Minase hesitantly speaks Nakatani's name for the first time in ages. While Minase expresses her uncertainty, the small demon girl, Mashan, clings protectively to Nakatani. From across the room, Minase tearfully asks if he ever plans on coming back to them. Nakatani looks down at the clinging Machan, acknowledging the trouble of the situation. Yano concedes that the situation is difficult, but insists they still need to talk. A single tear falls from Minase's eye, declaring she would rather stay with him. With tears streaming down her face, she passionately states she doesn't want to go back. Looking at the distraught Minase, Nakatani quietly says that he sees her point. He closes his eyes in empathy, softly stating that he understands her feelings completely. Sashiro abruptly interrupts the emotional moment, asking when they can join his group. Both Nakatani and Minase are taken aback, reacting with shared shock and confusion. Leaning in, Sashiro explains her question, stating that this is what he is preparing for. A bead of sweat forms on Nakatani's face as he asks if she is right. Sashiro reveals his ambition to the others, stating he is building a new nation. She continues that his plans must eventually involve gathering people for this country. Looking at him with intrigue, Sashiro comments on the power she perceives in his eye. A close-up on her own eye reveals her wondering just how far his vision extends. Turning away, Sashiro announces she will now state her own requirements for this alliance. She tells Nakatani that she will now explain the secret of her own powerful eye. Sashiro begins her explanation, stating what her unique skill is. She dramatically declares that her ability is the eye that can see through everything. Her skill, she reveals, is named Insight, its power reflected in her gaze. Sashiro confidently adds that she can of course see through Nakatani's skill too. Nakatani dismisses this, saying he wasn't particularly concerned about her seeing his ability. He begins to explain his reasoning, stating that in the first place. Minase finishes his thought, noting Sashiro wouldn't have come with only 2 others if hostile. She remarks that Sashiro's skill is wonderful, just as Nakatani had said. Sashiro agrees but admits that her powerful skill is also quite troublesome to use. The trouble, she explains, is that she must consciously think about what she wants to know. She clarifies the limit of her skill, noting she can't see what she doesn't consider. With a serious look, she acknowledges this limitation means some things will escape her sight. Sashiro then proposes an alternative to Nakatani, using his absorption skill on her. She suggests that she should be the one to find out how to break Machan's seal. With determination, Sashiro states she will uncover the method from within the Empire. A sly smile appears as she admits her fascination with Machan's sealed eye. Sashiro wonders aloud just how much Machan can truly see with that power. Mina, still confused by the turn of events, nervously asks another question. She recalls that Nakatani's original skill was only meant to pull things toward him. Nakatani explains the true nature of his skill, absorption, is to steal others' abilities. He adds that those he takes from only lose their power for a short time. Realizing the implication of his words, Minase apologizes for her past misunderstanding. She connects his power to a past incident, understanding now how he helped them then. Nakatani, with his back to her, reassures her that it is all right. Minase admits she was likely incapable of healing Tsubomi's arm so well on her own. Sashiro comments from her seat that Nakatani's skill is also quite dangerous. She gestures towards the small demon girl, referring to her as that girl over there. Sashiro calmly reveals that Machan's own incredible powers have been sealed away. Sashiro confirms that a certain power is indeed sealed, a fact Minase questions with surprise. It is revealed that Nakatani's group aims to build a country and restore Machan's lost powers. The elf-eared warrior, Yano, firmly decides to join their side, much to Minase's flustered astonishment. Sashiro observes her friends, expressing that she doesn't mind their decision, but has other thoughts. She then wonders aloud if this wouldn't be a good opportunity to earn some points. Nakatani questions their true intention to join him, knowing the risks involved. Sashiro admits that while her skill is convenient, it is not suitable for direct combat. She reveals her plan to naturally find the safest place available to her. Nakatani considers her words, perhaps realizing he is that kind of person. Yano, the stoic warrior, observes the interaction with a serious expression. Sashiro announces she will return after gathering information, with no intention of going back. Her sudden departure leaves Minase and Yano looking worried and uncertain. With a look of grim determination, Sashiro sets off on her mission. Nakatani offers a gentle, reassuring smile to the concerned Minase. Her final declaration, "That's all," echoes over the ruined landscape. From a distance, Manaki cheerfully waves goodbye to Nakatani's departing group. Nakatani now leads his companions through the streets of a desolate castle town. Akane lets out a large yawn, appearing drained after the encounter. Noticing her friend's state, Manaki asks Akane if something is wrong. Akane's expression turns serious as she prepares to explain her fear. She notes that Manaki, without her sight-based skill, couldn't perceive the true danger. A flashback reveals Akane's internal terror, realizing the situation was incredibly dangerous. Through her skill, she saw that Nakatani's party members were all complete monsters. Manaki tries to calm her, expressing relief that they managed to stay alive. She remains confident in Nakatani's character, believing he would never harm them. Akane looks unconvinced, still rattled by the power she witnessed. Puzzled, Manaki asks if Nakatani's group was really that dangerous. Akane confirms her fears with a simple, somber, "Yeah." Manaki explains she felt lucky, having noticed that Eve's powers were sealed. She reveals she made a bet to find out how to break the seal from the Empire. She fears that if her bet fails, they will have no value to Nakatani's group. She repeats the phrase "no value," sighing at her precarious position. She believes that even if Nakatani didn't think that way, their reality is harsh. With a look of despair, she concludes that they are just. Akane finishes the thought, stating that is their reality in this kind of world. Elsewhere, Onizuka expresses her annoyance after a recent, unsatisfying victory. She looms over her fallen opponent, callously dismissing him as another damn loser. The defeated man's body is flung away, landing hard on the dusty ground. A dark, menacing close-up shows Onizuka's face, her expression cold and ruthless. In a forest clearing, Onizuka sits on a rock, surrounded by the bodies of their victims. One of her followers, Yasu, nervously approaches and questions her actions. He asks if they can continue their life of robbing and killing people every day. Yasu angrily tells his other companion to use his head and think about their situation. Onizuka coldly explains that she considers their entire existence in this world a dream. She laments how messed up it is that they were suddenly thrown into this world. She bitterly claims she would never have lost to Nakatani if not for this world. Her followers point out that they are being chased and cannot return home. Onizuka believes that if it's all a dream, they can do whatever they want. A memory flashes of a terrified victim pleading for them to stop. Yasu justifies their actions, stating they are heroes who can steal the powers of those they kill. Two figures in white cloaks stand before a dark, dripping shape, one questioning if the other has even tried. Kashima looks at Yasu, remarking on the sheer convenience of Onizuka's power. Onizuka's face twists into a menacing grin as he calls it a mistake. Not to use such a power, which startles his two cloaked followers. Kashima looks at Onizuka's back, asking if this path is truly good enough. Yasu reminds his companion that they are being hunted by the Empire and its heroes. His clenched fist shows his frustration over their inability to act freely. Onizuka declares that if they don't become stronger, they will not survive. In another location, the hero Ayaka comes to a grim conclusion about their only way forward. Elsewhere, Nakatani Kazuya and his party realize the only path left for them. With her followers behind her, Ayaka steels her resolve for the coming conflict. Onizuka's group walks through a desolate landscape, determined to become stronger for the impending clash. A title page reveals a fortress nestled between dark, leafy trees, marking a new chapter. A large, circular fan whirs to life, signifying a change in scene. An imperial knight sits atop a heavily armored horse, its head bearing an ornate crest. In a bustling town, a small, barefoot child helps pull a large sack. From a high wooden beam, a beastkin girl watches Nakatani and his companion below. Nakatani stands alone in a wide, dusty square, looking towards a large central building. The town square is shown again, with people milling about its reconstructed buildings. Nakatani looks on with a slightly surprised expression, remarking on the unexpected scene. From a distance, a cloaked figure comments that you can't look away from humans. Disastre Sereno asks if it is all right for Nakatani to appear so openly. Nakatani explains that his current appearance is, on the contrary, rather inconspicuous here. With a thoughtful look, Nakatani considers the situation before him. The Beastkin Eve comments on the impressive speed of the reconstruction work. Disastre notes he has brought supplies but has something more important to discuss. Nakatani's companion Saris asks if Disastre has something to say to them. Disastre looks at them seriously, preparing to explain his purpose for being there. Nakatani confirms that he understands the gravity of the situation. Standing before a wooden building, Disastre reveals their purpose is Onizuka's subjugation. Nakatani's expression becomes serious upon learning the heroes will soon be moving. Disastre is surprised all heroes are being mobilized, noting Onizuka's formidable strength. Saras listens intently to the conversation about Onizuka's growing power. With a slight smile, Saras states that nevertheless, the situation is what it is. Disastre questions if anyone other than Nakatani can compete with the rogue hero. He states that from his point of view, their chances look slim. Disastre tips his hat, adopting a more serious and formal tone. He expresses his concern, admitting it may be excessive for an old man. He warns that even Nakatani, who is considered the strongest hero, might struggle against such a powerful opponent. As Nakatani and Saras listen, meanwhile, Onizuka's followers complain amongst themselves about having to walk every day. Yasu voices his hatred for their situation and for Onizuka's cruel methods. He wonders aloud how their leader's physical strength is constantly increasing. Onizuka, walking ahead, dismisses their complaints with an annoyed sound. He turns and yells at them to hurry, promising they won't move for a while. Yasu and Kashima exchange weary, worried glances, tired of their leader's tyranny. Onizuka suddenly stops, his hand held up in a sharp, commanding gesture. He holds his arm out, blocking his followers from proceeding down the forest path. With a sneer, Onizuka expresses his contempt for what lies just ahead. His two followers peer past him, reacting with shock at what they see. Onizuka's group emerges from the woods, questioning the strange, fortified compound ahead. With grim determination, Onizuka declares their intention to enter, alarming his follower. The cloaked follower expresses his terror at the thought of entering the ominous structure. From a high vantage point, the overwhelming number of bandits becomes terrifyingly clear. Standing defiantly, Onizuka's party confronts the bandits as he demands their purpose. The bandit leader smugly informs the intruders they were doomed the moment they arrived. Onizuka coldly suggests that the bandits should start begging for a quick death. With a cruel smile, the bandit leader mockingly recalls skinning a man alive. Onizuka retorts that the bandits should be thankful for the swift deaths he'll provide. Suddenly, the heads of two bandits explode, leaving their leader stunned. The bandit leader looks on, confused, as Onizuka leaps into the fray. Onizuka slams his fist into the ground, creating a powerful shockwave. A dazed bandit stumbles back from the blast, expressing his utter confusion. A spiky-haired guard desperately screams for reinforcements from inside the compound. Onizuka grabs two bandits by their heads, preparing to smash them together. With brutal force, he slams their heads into each other with a sickening crunch. Onizuka's female companion announces she is already heading inside the stronghold. From the ground, a bloodied bandit screams defiantly at the advancing group. The female companion issues a confident challenge to the remaining guards. One of Onizuka's followers expresses his disbelief at their unstoppable advance. The female companion smirks, prepared to take on any who stand in their way. She confidently declares that the compound will now serve as their new stronghold. The perspective shifts to the dark, foreboding stone interior of the building. Inside, two men are startled by the sounds of the violent intrusion. An ambusher hiding in the rafters looks down, shocked by the intruder's arrival. A magical fire trap erupts from an archway as Onizuka curses in annoyance. Onizuka dismisses the constant stream of minor opponents as completely useless. He looks up with bored contempt at another guard hiding in the ceiling. His female companion leaps up, effortlessly dispatching the ambusher with a single move. One of the cloaked followers groans, overwhelmed by the unending chaos of the assault. Onizuka's eyes narrow with disdain as he assesses the pathetic resistance. The group finally reaches a vast, crystal-walled chamber, recognizing their destination. A follower marvels at the strange architecture, wondering how it was made. Another follower correctly deduces that it must have once been a goblin nest. From the shadows, the goblin chief identifies them as the source of the commotion. The four-eyed goblin's monstrous face is shown, adorned with a skull necklace. Onizuka's two cloaked followers are frozen in sheer terror at the sight of the chief. Onizuka's lips curl into a cruel, predatory smile as he faces the new threat. The goblin chief calls them interesting and threatens that they will not leave alive. He punctuates his threat by stomping his foot on the stone floor. In a blur of motion, Onizuka drives his fist straight through the goblin's chest. The goblin chief gasps in pain as his life is brutally and instantly ended. A flashback shows a younger Onizuka presenting a choice to a small, white-haired girl. In the memory, he demands to be made chief or face dire consequences. In the present, Onizuka rips his arm from the corpse, commanding it to die. The remaining goblins stare in utter shock at their fallen leader. Onizuka's followers look on, their faces pale with a mixture of awe and fear. Onizuka's face is a mask of pure, terrifying glee after his victory. A jester-like figure is shown juggling during a parade, marking a scene transition. The chapter title page is displayed over a bustling city street during a parade. From a high balcony, two young men look down upon a grand imperial parade. One of them, Tuya, smiles with satisfaction while dressed in his ceremonial armor. In another part of the city, different heroes also observe the procession below. A group of female heroes, including a Khan and a witch, are walking among the crowd. Akane playfully calls out to her friend, the witch, to get her attention. She points towards a merchant's stall, noticing a hat that resembles her friend's. The witch finds it amusing that her likeness is in the parade, but she is not. She reflects on how she was practically a prisoner within the royal palace recently. Suddenly, she was granted permission to go shopping, making the day feel very hectic. A close-up of her eye reveals she is contemplating the reason behind these events. She understands the necessity of the situation, despite her personal feelings about it. Various groups of heroes are seen walking through the crowded city streets with purpose. A long-haired female hero and a blonde male hero share a look of grim understanding. A voice summons the heroes, directing them towards a large, imposing castle. Inside, the many summoned students are gathered around an incredibly long conference table. The Prime Minister formally thanks them all for answering his summons to the meeting. A hero in armor asks if they have been assembled to participate in another parade. He adds that if so, they expect the Empire's full assistance this time. Several of the female heroes listen intently to the exchange from their seats. The Prime Minister calmly states that another parade will not be necessary. He explains that their public introduction is complete and it is now time to act. Tuya questions what it means to participate actively for the whole Empire to see. The Prime Minister begins by describing the country's vastness and its system of lords. He continues his explanation, hinting that there is a problem within the Empire's lands. He reveals that there are territories outside their control, like the Great Dingirth Forest. Tuya listens with a serious expression as he is told the forest is full of rogues. These rogue elements, the Prime Minister explains, are hindering movement between territories. He concludes by expressing his personal dissatisfaction with this disruption as a citizen. Tuya smiles, understanding the true nature of the mission he is being given. He asks if they were summoned to exterminate these rogues, and the Prime Minister agrees. A scarred man named Jiggy Vlad interrupts the briefing with an important piece of news. He announces that he has received a report that a large enemy group was annihilated. The Prime Minister looks over at Jiggy, who is making a playful gesture. Jiggy smiles, holding up his fingers as if sharing a fun secret. He introduces himself as Jiggy Vlad, who is being pressured by an army commander. The other heroes look on, wary and suspicious of this strange newcomer. Jiggy acknowledges their caution with a simple, inquisitive sound. He laughs and tells the assembled heroes that they do not need to be so guarded. Tuya glares at him, remaining silent and unimpressed by the man's demeanor. Jiggy lets out a breath, seemingly unbothered by the tense atmosphere. He smirks, commenting that he is quite used to this kind of reception. He then reveals that his own mission is to deal with a stray hero. He quickly reassures the panicked heroes that he is referring to the weak one. Tuya listens as Jiggy explains that Hiro Onizuka has already defeated a hostile group. Jiggy expresses his delight that his own workload has been conveniently reduced. A long-haired female hero looks on, annoyed by his flippant and disrespectful attitude. Jiggy mockingly feigns fear, waving his hands as if terrified by the situation. His expression turns serious as he points a finger, ready to reveal the bad news. He explains that Onizuka has taken over the bandit group and is recruiting new members. A hero gasps in shock as Jiggy reveals Onizuka's new army exceeds 1,000 soldiers. The girl in the witch hat looks at a concerned Akane, stating their situation is now far more serious than just preparing for war. In the meeting hall, a man in a fur-collared jacket clasps his hands, preparing to put things simply. Kakeru Onizuka leans back in his ornate chair, addressing all the summoned heroes before him. A wide view of the grand hall shows the assembled heroes, who are all being sent to fight in the coming war. With a serious expression, the hero Tuya listens intently to the proceedings, a hint of concern on his face. From an overhead perspective, the Prime Minister announces the main forces will be his elite Black Wolf army and them. As the minister mentions the possibility of other support, Tuka interrupts, declaring it unnecessary. Tuya confidently states that for an opponent like Onizuka, his group of heroes is more than enough. Kakeru Onizuka smirks with amusement, intrigued by the bold declaration he just heard. The Prime Minister addresses Onizuka, acknowledging the hero's motivation, but seeing no personal benefit for them. Onizuka gestures towards the Prime Minister, inviting him to explain the lucrative offer he has in mind. Adjusting his monocle, the Prime Minister begins, suggesting the heroes are likely already aware of the recent developments. Two female heroes listen as the Prime Minister reveals the shocking news that the powerful Salsford family has perished. Leaning back in his throne-like chair, the Prime Minister reminds them of the Empire's vastness. A dark-haired student understands the implication, questioning what will happen with one of the lords now gone. The Prime Minister gestures grandly, proposing that a talented individual from their ranks should fill the vacant seat. The assembled heroes, including the girl in the witch hat, listen as the life-changing offer is presented. Two students react with complete shock as the Prime Minister announces one of them will become a new noble. Tuka Amakawa turns in her seat, stammering in disbelief at the incredible prospect of being granted nobility. The students question if this offer is conditional on them defeating the dangerous rogue hero, Onizuka. With a single definitive word, the Prime Minister confirms their suspicion, sending a wave of shock through the hall. A blonde-haired student whispers excitedly to his friend, captivated by the dream of becoming a noble. His friend, however, expresses his fear and doubt about having to fight the powerful Onizuka for the title. A girl with pigtails bites her finger nervously, contemplating the perilous path to power and status. The heroes debate the offer, weighing their desire for revenge against the fear of confronting their former classmate. Mizuki Mizawa's eyes narrow with dark resolve as she declares her unwavering intention to become a noble. Aika Shinozaki looks on, expressing her concern and disapproval over the idea of killing for a title. Tuka confronts Mizawa, questioning how she can say such a thing given the harsh reality of their world. The girl in the witch hat watches Tuka, considering the difficult and morally ambiguous path that lies ahead. A close-up reveals the witch hat girl's single, intense eye, carefully observing the unfolding drama. Mizawa clenches her fist tightly, her face contorted with the effort of her conviction for her friend's sake. She sits with her group of friends who watch her with a mixture of awe and concern for her declaration. In the background, two students gossip, one asking if Mizawa is simply infatuated with becoming a noble. The other student defends her, stating with certainty that there must be another reason for her resolve. A flashback reveals that Mizawa was the closest friend to Yukari, one of their classmates who had died. Mizawa recalls making a solemn promise with her group of friends, a vow that now drives her actions. The memory shows them discussing the idea of creating their own playing cards for entertainment and profit. She explains her true motivation, to become a noble so she can create a board game in their honor. The flashback shows her imperfectly crafted cards, as she admits she lacks the ability to make them properly yet. Her expression hardens with determination, vowing to find a way to fulfill her promise to her friends. A blank panel creates a brief pause, transitioning from the emotional flashback back to the present. The spiky-haired blonde student smiles, confidently stating that he'll be sure to do something about their situation. He enthusiastically agrees to train with another student, giving a firm thumbs up. In the courtyard, the two students thank each other for the special training session they just completed. A dynamic shot captures various students engaged in intense sparring sessions, honing their skills for the coming conflict. After the hard training, a few students, including the girl with pigtails, rest against a wall looking exhausted. Kakeru Onizuka lights a cigarette in a quiet hallway, taking a moment for himself. He observes two other students, remarking with a hint of nostalgia on how nice it is to be young. Onizuka turns to a stoic, formally dressed guard, casually offering him a smoke. The guard curtly declines the offer, stating he is on duty, much to Onizuka's bored annoyance. Kakeru Onizuka, a smug hero, watches the other heroes with a confident smirk. From the hallway, he observes the training activities in a distant sunlit courtyard. On a high balcony, Sylphia dismisses the heroes' efforts with a cynical expression. She believes that against real talent, their hard work is ultimately meaningless. Her companions watch as a lone figure leaves the training ground through an archway. The witch hat girl and Ayaka observe the scene, taking in Sylphia's harsh words. Looking down from a high window, Yuto Amakawa watches his companions below. The scene shifts to the rooftops of a city under a dark, cloudy sky. Among the city's buildings, a conversation about skills and abilities begins. Yuto, with a look of surprise, realizes he still doesn't understand everything. Two cat girls look at him, one asking about his knowledge of their skills. Surrounded by his party, Yuto is approached by the playful twin cat girls. One of the twins leans in close, flirtatiously offering him her power. Gray explains that the twins' power comes from physical ability, not a skill. Yuto processes this, realizing their strength is inherent and not magical. One of the twins asks if he understands how they can move so fast. Gray muses that their ability is a skill that isn't truly a skill. He wonders aloud about the effect of using absorption on such an ability. A bead of sweat forms on Yuto's face as he asks what Gray means. The twins reveal that their unique power is a shared sense between them. Yuto repeats the word sharing, trying to understand the strange concept. Gray comments that its convenience depends entirely on who one shares it with. With a thoughtful expression, Sylphia considers the strategic implications. Yuto wonders if this means the power is truly unique to the twins. Gray dismisses the idea of pursuing it further after a brief consideration. Looking at his companions, he decides it is better to stop that line of inquiry. Holding up his gloved hand, he offers his own skill as more useful. Two of Yuto's female companions look on as another asks about Gray's skill. A fellow hero directly asks the powerful dark-skinned man what his ability is. In a powerful display, Gray throws a punch, unleashing a massive attack. The force of his fang fist creates a swirling vortex in the air. Gray tells Yuto that their compatibility with this skill should be excellent. With a look of focus, Yuto acknowledges the skill's certain potential. He then asks if the ability also serves to increase raw power. Sylphia explains that with Yuto's vast arsenal, it will enhance any skill. She questions if he understands the concept of skill enhancement. Gray looks at Yuto, certain he can put the power to good use. Yuto gently pats one of the affectionate cat girls on the head. Gray raises his hand, preparing to transfer his skill. Yuto activates absorption, drawing the power from a grunting Gray. After the transfer, Yuto stands back, ready to test his new ability. He clenches his fist, feeling the new power course through him. Unleashing a punch, he acknowledges that he understands the skill's nature. The resulting blast of dark energy tears into the ground before his party. He remarks on the offensive power of Fang Fist and its versatility. The Witch Hat Girl imagines combining it with Onizuka's skill for ranged attacks. Another hero considers using it to expand the range of healing magic. It is noted that combined with transport skills, it can move more cargo. Sylphia excitedly states how it will improve her dragon techniques. With a slight smile, Gray confirms her assessment with a simple affirmation. A young woman with intricately designed sleeves looks towards a large distant building, remarking that there are many other things they can accomplish. Inside a building, a group of smiling demi-humans with rabbit and fox-like ears are gathered together, appearing content. Yuto questions a woman with an eye patch, expressing his surprise that something wasn't done sooner. With a bead of sweat on his face, Yuto expresses his hesitation and uncertainty about the situation. Two cat-haired girls announce that they now belong to their Onichin, as they only follow the strong. The dark-skinned man, Gray, watches Yuto's group with a knowing smile, stating that Yuto now understands. In the town square, the elf-like Sarah explains to Yuto that demi-humans may possess different values than humans. She continues with a warm expression, reassuring him that many would still be willing to cooperate with him. As she speaks, several small demi-human children are seen running happily in the background, reinforcing her point. Yuto listens as the small white-haired Ivy affirms her belief in what he has said. Ivy sits beside Yuto, her gaze steady and supportive, while he closes his eyes in deep thought. With a faint, confident smile, Yuto begins to state his decision, starting with a single, thoughtful word. Looking out over the town square filled with people, Yuto declares that he has an answer to give. He admits with a nervous smile that he is worried about whether he has the capacity to handle it all. Ivy turns to him, her expression kind as she tells him not to worry. Beneath a moonlit sky, she expresses her complete faith in him simply because of who he is. In a dark, cavernous setting, Wajima nervously asks the long-haired Onizuka about the situation before them. Onizuka, with his back turned, dismissively asks his follower what he is talking about. Seated amidst a massive, defeated crowd, Onizuka questions what his follower meant by everything being fine. Suzuhara expresses his uncertainty, while Onizuka turns and roars at the assembled bandits to gather up. His long hair whipping around him, Onizuka turns to face the crowd of gathered bandits and misfits. A menacing grin spreads across his face as he declares his intent to become even stronger. The Imperial Cavalry Force, led by Minister Roy, charges at full speed across a barren, rocky landscape. A title page shows the army advancing, announcing their determined rush towards the target. The Minister of Military Affairs, Roy, is identified, looking weary as he rides in a speeding carriage. From within the carriage, the scarred Jiggy Vlad begins to speak, while Onizuka listens from the roof. Jiggy lounges casually, suggesting to his commander that there is no need to hurry so much. An irritated Roy demands that Jiggy Vlad explain what he is trying to say. Jiggy laughs, playfully telling the stern-faced Roy that there is no need to look so scary. Aboard his armored horse, Roy repeats Jiggy's words, wondering about the supposed reason for their delay. Jiggy confirms from the carriage roof that there is indeed a reason for his suggestion to slow down. Riding beside the carriage, Jiggy points out that their army is the Empire's most valuable military asset. He chuckles, admitting that while it's embarrassing to hear, that fact isn't what's currently important. Roy listens as Jiggy adds that their army is still easier to handle than the summoned heroes. With an intense glare, Roy tells Jiggy to get to the point of his cryptic conversation. Leaning close, Jiggy whispers his theory that the heroes will eventually end up destroying each other. Roy looks away, sweating slightly, as Jiggy implies it wouldn't matter if they arrived late. The carriage and horses continue their swift advance across the desolate ground, kicking up dust. Roy, on his horse, looks towards the carriage where Jiggy is lounging casually on the roof. Minister Roy looks out over his column of cavalry as they ride through a jagged, rocky canyon. One of Roy's officers praises him as the most remarkable man since the Empire's foundation. Jiggy asks Roy if he is keeping a close watch on the heroes who are acting independently. Roy, adjusting his tie, notes that if Jiggy isn't panicking, it must mean things are going smoothly. From the carriage, Jiggy speculates that the strongest hero might arrive late to the conflict. Roy is visibly shocked by this, demanding to know how Jiggy could possess such information. Jiggy, snacking, dismisses Roy's alarm, suggesting they can afford to take it easy for a while. He holds up a small flask, noting that the heroes the Empire sent are also outstanding fighters. He adds that they might be able to do something unexpected, his face reflected in his flask. Roy warns Jiggy not to say things he doesn't truly mean, as Jiggy continues to snack. Jiggy playfully offers a bite to the Minister of Military Affairs, who looks away in annoyance. Within his carriage, Jiggy Vlad playfully offers a snack to the stern Minister Roy. Riding alongside, Roy mutters the name Onizuka, his expression grim and focused. His thoughts reflect the harsh reality. Onizuka is now too powerful for heroes alone. Their destination is a formidable fortress carved into the very rock of a mountain canyon. Inside, a line of anxious men shuffles through a dimly lit, narrow stone corridor. A large muscular guard points, ordering the next hopeful recruit to step forward. The long queue of men waits nervously, inching its way toward a staircase. A young recruit enters a vast hall, seeing a lone figure on a distant throne. From his seat, Onizuka looks down with a cold, utterly indifferent expression. The recruit eagerly introduces himself, but Onizuka curtly tells him to keep his name. Leaning forward, Onizuka asks only if the man possesses any kind of skill. The recruit proudly confirms that he does indeed have a skill to offer. In his eye's reflection, he sees Onizuka as a powerful figure he can serve. In a blur of motion, Onizuka's hand pierces the recruit's chest, shocking him. The man's lifeless eyes stare upwards as Onizuka scoffs at his useful skill. Onizuka disgustedly calls him trash, questioning what pathetic skill he even had. He examines his hand, noting the ability was only enough for a tiny flame. Another recruit attacks, launching a swirling ball of dark energy toward the throne. Onizuka catches the magical blast effortlessly in his palm, where it dissipates harmlessly. The attacker is stunned, having believed his power should have been sufficient. Onizuka grimaces, declaring that such a weak attack is simply not enough. A cloaked follower observes that magic can be enhanced by other skills. Onizuka's face twists in rage as he screams that they are all trash. He turns his back, stalking away and leaving the rest to his followers. Onizuka callously tells his subordinates to use or kill them as they please. One of his hulking, rock-skinned followers moves to deal with the terrified men. From a high balcony, Wajima nervously asks his companion what they should do now. He observes that at least Onizuka has left them with an organization to manage. His friend calls him an idiot, questioning if Onizuka just discarded the useless ones. Wajima warns her to be quiet, as the others believe they are chosen. He looks on with concern, speaking of the monster Onizuka has become. Suzuhara walks down a corridor, wondering if Onizuka is still not satisfied. Wajima watches as his friend states he has been thinking about something. They look down from the balcony, Suzuhara voicing concern over an imperial attack. He trails off, a dark and chilling idea beginning to form in his mind. His expression becomes intense as he turns to address Wajima directly. He poses the theory that Onizuka abandoned them because he thinks they're weak. Wajima is stunned into silence, stammering his friend's name in utter disbelief. Onizuka looks back with a serious, almost challenging expression. A panicked Wajima confirms he will do whatever is necessary to survive. He stares forward with a new hardened resolve, stating his will to act. As Suzuhara walks away, Wajima explains that they have no choice but to proceed. He declares that they never had any other way to survive from the beginning. A character grits their teeth, a sign of grim and bitter acceptance. Suzuhara laughs without joy, saying he could never be comfortable with his class again. He adds that returning to their own world is even more unthinkable now. He turns to Wajima, his expression cold, stating what they must do now. Wajima can only look back, understanding his friend's dark, unspoken intent. A character's eye closes in a moment of quiet, grim resolution. A slash of chaotic energy tears through the darkness, signifying a new violent path. An armored boot stomps down with force, cracking the desolate ground below. Viewed from above, a large cavalry of heroes charges swiftly across the plains. At the head of the formation, Miyamoto rides with a look of intense focus. The vanguard of heroes, led by Miyamoto, gallops through a narrow canyon. Miyamoto's lone figure on horseback issues the order to charge toward the conflict. Riding through the rocky pass, a hero announces they are nearing their destination. Two riders move forward as one reminds the other of their grim duty. Kirihara smirks, suggesting Miyamoto should be more focused on taking down Onizuka. Miyamoto replies that as a hero, he cannot ignore his personal convictions. With a determined expression, Miyamoto vows to stay true to his decision. The lead riders arrive in a clearing, spotting two distant figures waiting. Miyamoto's gaze is fixed forward as he reaches the confrontation point. His companion, Kitajima Maya, watches the enemy with a tense expression. The rest of the diverse hero party arrives, pulling up behind their leaders. Kirihara confirms that their targets are indeed the ones waiting for them. Oyamata expresses his shock, seeing the tiny figures on his gauntlet. Miyamoto asks Kitajima what's wrong as she stares ahead in disbelief. Using her Hawkeye skill, Kitajima's face contorts in absolute terror. She stammers that the enemy numbers are far greater than they were told. Miyamoto looks up, realizing the immense danger of the fortress before them. The fortress is revealed, its walls lined with a massive waiting army. A female hero expresses her shock, stating this isn't what they heard. The heroes murmur nervously, questioning if this is the entire enemy force. Another hero anxiously recalls being promised reinforcements from a suspicious source. Miyamoto and Kirihara recklessly charge ahead, leaving the main group behind. Raising his sword, Miyamoto shouts for everyone to begin the assault. Oyamata and other heroes watch in disbelief at their leader's rash action. The muscular Oyamata pleads with Miyamoto to wait for the Black Wolf army. Kirihara ignores the caution, urging everyone to follow the heroic Miyamoto. A hero expresses his dismay at Miyamoto, deciding things by himself. Kitajima looks on, appalled, asking if her leader is joking. From their fortress, Suhara and Wajima watch the approaching heroes. The fortress gate looms ominously as the heroes draw closer to their doom. In another town, Tuka states he is leaving his subordinate Gray in charge. From a distance, Gray asks Tuka if he is fine leaving things to him. Tuka offers a slight, confident smile as he prepares for his own mission. Two small beastkin girls cling nervously to Tuka's legs as he looks on. Tuka admits to Gray that he feels he has no better options at the moment. Watching from afar, Gray expresses his unwavering belief in Tuka's group. Surrounded by children, Gray is told that no one could be better for the job. One of the small children tugs on Gray's clothes, asking him to play. Tuka thanks Gray, reassuring him that he can leave without any worries. As Tuka's party departs, a guard tells the children to behave themselves. While walking through a forest, Tuka calls out to his companion, Melia. He asks her if she is certain about the rendezvous time provided by Valet. Seeing his serious expression, Melia asks him what is wrong. Tuka looks down at his companions as Melia hesitates to answer him. He looks toward the horizon, admitting he feels a deep sense of unease. A close-up shows a bloodied sword falling to the ground with a sharp clang. A horde of crazed, dagger-wielding soldiers leaps into a savage attack. In the midst of a chaotic battle, a hero in a witch's hat points forward. A small girl attacks a curly-haired man while his companions look on in shock. An extreme close-up reveals a single, dark, and menacing eye watching the events unfold. Elsewhere, a woman with a long ponytail gracefully cuts down several armored opponents at once. She pauses mid-battle, calmly holding a small object in her hand. From the side, an observer's eye watches as the ponytail-clad woman continues her assault. A group of fighters flees towards a dark doorway, leaving a trail of bodies behind. An armored boot takes a deliberate step into the hall. Miyamoto Ren stands before a massive stone pillar as a starburst signifies a sudden event. With a heavy thud, a barred gate crashes down, trapping the heroes inside. The group of heroes looks on with grim and determined expressions. Miyamoto and his party stand ready, united against the unseen threat. From his perspective, Miyamoto expresses his utter annoyance at being trapped. A voice from the shadows remarks on the noise the heroes are making. The villainous hero Onizuka emerges, callously dismissing the group as mere fuckers. Miyamoto's eyes narrow as he recognizes his former classmate, Onizuka. He also identifies Onizuka's companions, Suzuhara and Wajima. Kirihara smirks, declaring that the time for confrontation has finally come. Miyamoto's composure breaks as he screams Onizuka's name in pure rage. He glares down the long dark hall, demanding to know why this is happening. His voice filled with anguish, he asks why Onizuka murdered their friends, Suzuki and Dojima. Miyamoto continues to press Onizuka for an answer. Onizuka looks back with a bored expression, questioning why Miyamoto is so upset. He heartlessly states that he doesn't care and that they were simply weak. Miyamoto grits his teeth, overwhelmed by his former companion's cruelty. A memory begins, showing a fresh stack of hand-drawn playing cards. The friends praise the cards, noting the lack of entertainment in their new world. Yagami modestly says his creations aren't good enough to be sold yet. He holds a single card, hoping to improve his craft in the future. A friend compliments Yagami's alchemy skill for its creative potential. Yagami expresses his envy for Suzuki's more practical calculation skill. Suzuki explains his skill helps with fine adjustments during magic casting. The scattered cards represent the group finally feeling better after a recent loss. Yagami recalls how difficult it was when their friend Baba died. The three friends are shown standing together in a dark, cavernous space. The group sits together on the floor, the mood somber and reflective. One friend exclaims that they can't stay gloomy forever. Another agrees they must change the mood, no matter how hard it is. Yagami quietly reflects that any of them could be the next to die. Suzuki stands, telling Yagami that he has been thinking about something. He proposes introducing games like chess and shogi to this world. A friend reacts with awe, amazed by the brilliant idea. He enthusiastically suggests other games like Go or Othello could also be profitable. Suzuki confidently states he can organize it all with his calculation skill. He trusts his knowledge of games from their world to make it succeed. The friends form a determined pact, agreeing to the plan. They cheerfully dream of becoming millionaires and eating all the good food they want. The memory ends, returning to the present with the scattered, broken cards. Miyamoto, filled with grief, questions why his friends were the ones to be killed. He screams that they were good people who did not deserve to die. Fueled by righteous fury, Yagami Tuka declares the promise he made to his friends. He had vowed to make games famous in this world and become rich. Looking back with bored eyes, Onizuka Takudo dismisses the emotional outburst. In a sudden flash of movement, Onizuka closes the distance to attack Yagami. Yagami's face registers shock and pain as blood explodes from his mouth. Two of his classmates, including Elena, cry out his name in helpless terror. The overhead view reveals Yagami has been slammed face first onto the stone floor. Grinding his boot into Yagami's head, Onizuka sneers that trash shouldn't daydream. He then turns to the others, proclaiming that in this world weakness is meaningless. The remaining heroes can only watch, their own powerlessness reflected in their expressions. From the dais above, Kirihara wonders what is happening amid the chaos. The witch hat girl and her companions are stunned by the sudden, brutal violence. Another group of female students, including Kashima, watches the tragic scene unfold. A defiant Hushuin Yukari steps forward, demanding Onizuka face her instead. Onizuka looks at her with a dawning, cruel realization. Pointing forward, he mockingly accuses her of being terrified. Seeing Onizuka ignore the challenge, Yagami's friends look on in shock. He dashes past her, charging directly into the crowd of cowering students. After his chaotic charge, he coldly asks what they will do now. Enraged, Kashima Kotoni begins to shout at the monstrous Onizuka. She screams that Yukari did not deserve to be killed by him. With a single devastating blow, Onizuka slams Yukari into the hard ground. He mockingly identifies her by her family name, Hushuin. Onizuka continues his taunts, calling her the model rich girl. Stomping on her body, he declares that old world status means nothing here. The crushing impact shatters the floor, brutally ending Yukari's life. A horrified Elena screams that he is wrong about her friend. Kneeling in the rubble, Kashima begins to speak of Yukari's true character. She insists that Yukari never once boasted about her privileged standing. With tears streaming down her face, Kashima yells that Yukari was strong. Onizuka's armored boot stands firm, showing his complete lack of remorse. Kashima finishes her tribute, stating Yukari faced her challenges on her own. Onizuka dismisses her passionate defense, stating that he doesn't care. He throws a casual punch, noting it took very little effort. He concludes that she died as if she were nothing at all. Onizuka's profile is sharp and cruel as he observes the destruction he caused. Kashima is sent flying across the hall, crashing hard against a stone pillar. Clicking his tongue in annoyance, he turns back to the remaining students. He snarls menacingly at the terrified group of his former classmates. Onizuka declares that it is now their turn to die. Suddenly, two cloaked figures, Suzuhara and Wajima, leap in to intercept him. A female student looks on, questioning why those two are intervening. They stand between Onizuka and the others, their weapons ready for a fight. Another student is shocked, wondering how they became so strong. Straining against Onizuka's power, Suzuhara grits his teeth in exertion. He grimly states that they are already beyond saving. He and Wajima charge forward, accepting they have no other choice. With a desperate cry, Wajima resolves that they must do this now. The two former delinquents slam into the ground, preparing for their final stand. Kashima watches them, her expression filled with a dawning, terrible understanding. A young hero calls out nervously to his comrades amidst the unfolding chaos. From the sidelines, a classmate recognizes the two intervening fighters as Suzuhara and Wajima. Another hero, Kashima, expresses her shock, questioning if they were always this powerful. Straining against his foe, Suzuhara denies this, revealing their strength is born of desperation. Kashima looks on with dawning horror, realizing they have reached a point of no return. The two former delinquents charge forward, committed to their hopeless battle. With a grim laugh, Suzuhara accepts their fate, acknowledging there is no turning back. He reflects that their dark path was likely sealed for them since that day. The scene fades, transporting the narrative back to their original world. Suzuhara's voiceover admits that they were never the type to do commendable things. In their school uniforms, the two are shown as carefree delinquents enjoying the moment. They lived without any thought for the future or for who might be watching. A hidden camera reveals their illicit business, taking secret photos in the girls' locker room. A montage shows them celebrating their scheme, completely unconcerned with their actions. Wajima is shown delightedly accepting cash in exchange for one of the photos. He boasts to his partner about how profitable their venture with the peep photos is. Suzuhara shows Wajima another photo, this one of a girl from the next class. Suddenly, a voice from behind confronts them, labeling them as quite the criminals. A menacing classmate, Onizuka, reveals himself, his expression one of chilling amusement. Suzuhara's narration confirms this was the moment they fell into Onizuka's eye. With their weakness exposed, they had no way of escaping his control. Returning to the present, Suzuhara screams that their current struggle is karmic retribution. He yells that for them, there is no other way but to accept their ruin. Onizuka merely scoffs at their tragic resolve, unimpressed by their desperate stand. He effortlessly overpowers them with a single, brutal strike. An eye widens in pure terror as the devastating attack connects. The other students scream in horror as Onizuka's murderous rampage continues. Kashima cries out in disbelief at the sheer brutality unfolding before her. In a graphic display of power, Onizuka murders another classmate, Mizawa. Kashima looks on, stunned into silence as she witnesses the cold-blooded killing. From the floor, the armored hero Miyamoto begins to stir, his form shadowed. He regains his composure, expressing his cold understanding of the situation. Turning to Kashima, he asks if she is the one who needs his help. She looks over at her fallen friends, her expression one of shock and grief. Miyamoto focuses his attention on the killer, calling out Onizuka's name. He tells Onizuka that he has gone too far and crossed an unforgivable line. Miyamoto offers a final chance for redemption, asking if he will change his ways. Onizuka dismisses the offer with a condescending and casual, "Hey!" He taunts Miyamoto, questioning if he really thinks he can win with annoying preaching. Onizuka lectures that Miyamoto clearly doesn't understand the true face of this world. Readying his sword, Miyamoto declares that today he will be the one giving the sermon. Onizuka looks back unimpressed, questioning what Miyamoto could possibly do. A massive, destructive attack obliterates an opponent, leaving Miyamoto staring in shock. A nearby classmate with two-toned hair can only utter a single sound of confusion. Lying defeated in the rubble, a friend asks Miyamoto if he finally understands. Onizuka stands confidently, explaining his philosophy that only strength makes one great.